Alright, what is going on, everybody? This is Vietnam Legends versus aM+Capoch and Daniel. This is World Desert Championship, a 3v3 team game event that's gonna have quite a lot of unique maps, quite a lot of unique settings. Today we'll be casting the quarterfinals, as I said, Vietnam Legends, Bad Boy, Song Song, aCCM, and they also have Say My Name on the team. Whereas on the other side, considering that Hart signed up with Hera and Leary for the event, MbL and Nicov were in the need of teammates. They will be playing in red and yellow, so they teamed up with Capoch and Daniel. Normally the tournament is live games, but this time we're using recorded games because the players had the trouble playing this live. So instead, they agreed to play at a certain preset time frame and just go for recorded games. So the first game in each of these sets is a hidden free pick in terms of civilizations, but a random map. And oh my goodness, look at this! Hunting wolves! I did mention that there is a lot of gimmicky settings. I don't know which of these maps are, or because, well, you see that there is no name added to it, but basically, as things stand, this map doesn't seem to have boars by the starting area. Instead, you have boars in the middle. And the way that you lure them is that you have hunting wolves in here, and the hunting wolves will actually lure in the boars. So that's how you actually get your food income at the beginning. It looks like the players are also starting with a spearman in comparison to standard settings where you would be starting with a scout. So, as I said, a lot of gimmicky / unique settings overall in this one. We are going to have Vietnam Legends on the left side with Frank's pocket for Song Song in green. Bad Boy will be playing on the north in teal Britons, and to the south it's going to be aCCM as blue Ethiopians. Right side is going to be in the pocket, MbL as yellow Franks. One flank will be Nicov as red Britons, and the other flank will be Capoch as purple Mayans. So MbL and Nicov signed up with Capoch and Daniel, but I don't know if Daniel's actually going to play. There's a possibility that he will. The same thing can be said of Say My Name. Both teams have 4 players on their roster, and only 3 of them can play in a single game. So as you see, some players are only using their hunting wolf to lure in boars, which by the way seems to heal itself because multiple players actually have full HP on those hunting wolves. Yeah, it definitely seems to heal itself, and one thing that's actually interesting with this hunting wolf is that you can actually use it to kill the opponent's spearman. So you don't get a scout at the start, you only get a spearman, and you only get hunting wolves. But what you can do is use your hunting wolf to kill the opponent's spearman. You can also use your spearman to lure in boars, and you see that Capoch is trying to lure in the boar with his spearman, but here comes aCCM, and he actually kills that spearman with the hunting wolf. That's sort of a good, in quotation marks, laming strategy in this one. That's how they actually end up starting. There's quite a lot of boars in the middle, so you can secure a huge amount of food here. The map otherwise is somewhat vulnerable, although it does feature some of these Serengeti-like woodlines. So it's actually pretty risky to do fast castles here, but the abundance of food might still motivate some players to go for like a Drush FC style opening, especially with the flanks. So still, there is quite a lot of boars in the middle, and I think that it's actually worth it to just keep bringing in those boars until there is none left, because as you see, there is very limited amount of food beneath your TC you can work with. The sheep seem to be standard, and you also have berries, but like pushing in the deer is not really a possibility because they're quite far out. Milling them is not really an option either, so in terms of like large amount of fast food income, that's actually going to be tough. And the hunting wolves are also suitable for killing whales because they're super tanky. You see that they're slightly nerfed in this map script. They would have an 8 base attack, but they have been nerfed with -4, probably to make sure that they can just rush down the opponent's whales. Still, 100 HP means that they are still capable of killing whales, and it looks like, I'm not sure if this was intentional from Capoch that he killed this boar in here, because ideally it would have been better if it's close to the TC. I mean, it's not really a big deal because he still is close to the mill, but it would have been better if that actually reaches the TC. So, first village is going to be the pocket Song Song here in Franks, and MbL is not clicking up, so the other pocket is going for a much slower uptime. I wonder if that is just because he was late with his boars or he had less boars, but look at this. Song Song is able to do 21 pop. So far, MbL is doing 22 pop, so this wanted to be a Scouts build. He probably just didn't have the boars there in time. Because if you're late with your boars, as it looks like one of the players loses his hunting wolf. Who was it though? Because everyone still seems to have their hunting wolf. It had to be someone from Nikov's team, but everybody still has it. Maybe it was just a random wolf, because I think there could be random wolves around this map. But yeah, this is basically what I was referring to. Bringing in the extra boars is something that's really valuable. Obviously, it requires quite a lot of APM to do this. So you're managing your eco, then you have to do a lure. Once again, you can just right-click that hunting wolf back home, because then it outruns the boar. And that means that the boar will just de-aggro. So at the end of the day, what you want is to control this little hunting wolf here, and that's going to take quite a lot of your time. Double range archery opening from Nicov on the north. We will only have a single range here from Bad Boy on the left, or the woes are up for ACCM, because he seems to be going for a Drosh FC. Speaking of Droshes, here he comes, and the hunting wolf is going to help quite a bit. Remember, the hunting wolf is super tanky, so this can help you quite a bit at just getting your militias out. It looks like ACCM only went with 2 militias, because the hunting wolf by itself is worth a lot more than a scout, so it's not really worth it to go for 3 militias, especially if you know that you can't do a lot of damage. 3 militias would still help a little bit, but I don't think it's actually like a decisive advantage or so. But it looks like ACCM is going to play Drush FC here. We will have the pocket Song Song walling himself up as well. Limited amount of walls coming in from MbL's team so far. MbL's playing quite open, so is Nicov. Capoch is the only one who is actually doing quite a bit of an effort walling, but that is because he already got drushed here. Speaking of Capoch, he is probably going for a Drosh Archer's play here. Or, well, that would have been the plan normally, because he didn't make a single militia. But the 1 in 6 Wheels with Mayan seems like a Drosh Archer's time. Although with extra boars, it might turn into a Drosh FC. Especially with 4 farms. But it doesn't seem like Capoch will be able to afford Fast Castle immediately. He is only at 500 food. So, let's take a look at the scouts of Song Song, as they team them up with their hunting wolves in an effort to try and push Nicov. Nicov is playing very defensive with his archers. His gold mine is actually fairly safe here. He's about to ward it off, although there is going to be a hole here on this wood line, something that he needs to pay attention for. The Drush here is going to find no will kills, so nicely done there by Capoch with the defense. Didn't lose a single villager in the fight. Archers from Nicov are moving out, and they apparently evaded the forces of Bad Boy. Nicov will try to ward this one off, but that's not going to be successful. And the scouts jump on Nikov's wood line, and more importantly, the archers will hit 2 more wheels from behind. Nicov, however, finds a hole here, so both flanks will suffer from insane damage. Lack of walls, or more importantly, just the presence of holes, hurting both players really badly here. This might be better for Nicov though, because he's got some archers back at home to defend. He might actually get a tower up, whereas on the other side there I see 0 capacity to defend for Bad Boy. Still, Nicov apparently is gonna have the archer reaching the bottom of the tower. He's gonna have the hill advantage here, so Song Song dispatches the scouts to clean them up, because otherwise those archers would destroy the teal archers at the bottom. Nicov is under heavy pressure over here, but I think they might have enough to clean this one up. Nicov, at the end of the day, is going to lose 6 vills, 7. That is looking really grim for Nicov, because MbL scouts actually are trying to get some damage done at Song Song or ACCM, but that's not really happening. Nicov down by 10 vills, oh my goodness, he's at 23 vills. And I mean, he's doing some damage, but not huge. Bad Boy is still at 29. Bad Boy lost only 3 vills here, so I would say that even though I actually initially presumed that this is gonna be better for Nicov because he'll have a defensive tower up, it seems like it was way better for the Vietnamese team here. They just annihilated the vills of Nicov, And on the other side, they took very, very limited amount of damage. But speaking of limited amount of damage, that's the first will kill by MbL. And I did mention that walling these Serengeti woodlines is always tough. So MbL could very well retaliate here in the pocket. With his scouts, nice quick walls from Song Song. Song Song's got one spearman out here, makes a couple more. Those are Frankish scouts, so they're quite sturdy. The good news for Song Song is that these are only scouts, which means that you can actually quick wall against them. The problem that Nicov was facing is that he also had to fight archers, and Song Song tried to bait these scouts in here. You see that he intentionally left this gap open, and MbL was thinking about attacking it, but then you had to spearman here, and MbL decided not to fight that one. Now this is the moment to strike though for MbL, and as I said, he could actually get some revenge on the pocket here, and I think that's a dead villager that's hidden by the gold mine, so Song Song loses one. MbL already going into Castle Age, so is Capoch, but we already have Castle Age in for our blue player ACCM as the first player, so this is the moment for him to try and push Capoch's gold mine, who goes for a preemptive tower over here, just to ensure that he's not gonna get absolutely wrecked by that. And there's also apparently a hole here, so this isn't the only hole. There's a hole here. This is the bigger problem for Song Song. His base is wide open. Although MbL not paying attention to his scouts, he's going to lose basically all of them. These might still be able to kill one will, but that's basically it. North, Nicov needs to get some damage done with his archers, because his eco is just in ruins. Bad Boy will beat him to Castle Age by a massive margin. It's 37 eco, Nicov's at 31 overall. And it looks like the crossbows are going to the pocket. This is huge. MbL, he just reached Castle Age, so he might be able to clean these up. But remember, he's up against Ethiopians. And Ethiopians have free pikemen, which helps quite a bit for our blue player ACCM to just preserve these crossbow numbers. It might have been better if he doesn't lose that to the TC fire, but I love the idea of going for the pocket player. They realize that Capoch is Vod, Capoch has defensive tower on the gold, so it makes more sense to hit the pocket. And it looks like Song Song is looking for those wheels that escaped from the gold mine, but he can't find them. They will probably be able to get a TC up here, although this TC is sort of in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not necessarily a fan of that. On the north, we will have this little red wolf getting cleaned up by Bad Boy, and MbL should have no trouble cleaning this one up, so this is why that preserving that spearman would have been useful. Although MbL doesn't have +2 defense, so he will lose more than what he wants here, because especially with these crossbows able to take one downhill shot, plus being Ethiopian, I think that at this point ACCM can be content to trade like 5 crossbows off to sort of 3.5 knights here. That is a satisfactory trade for ACCM, especially when Bad Boy is doing things like this, moving into Nikov's base, who is still not finished with his walls, and apparently Nikov's misery will continue here as another will goes down. He's trying to finish his walls, but soon the pocket Song Song will be able to start pushing his base through those holes. Another will goes down from Nicov, and he's gonna have to get all his army back home. I like how there's a couple of skirms in the army of Bad Boy, because this sort of, on the north, was a 1v1 style fight. It was basically Nicov versus Bad Boy for most of the time. It's not like MbL or Song Song was helping a lot. Song Song actually helped for Bad Boy a little bit at the beginning, but it was mostly a 1v1, so mixing a couple of skirms helps decide those engagements. Speaking of deciding engagements, here comes Capoch with the crossbows, and this catches ACCM off guard, losing 2 wheels on the wood line, and now he's gonna have a tough time holding his base. He's gonna have to get all his army back, but it looks like he would just try to retaliate at the base of Capoch. This is dangerous because these crossbows could do quite a lot of damage. Quick walls coming in here from ACCM. We are going to have free TCs for both pocket players, and it very much seems like ACCM, with ballistics, he just wants to destroy Capoch's eco and try to defend, and he does so because there is some help coming in from the pocket. Song Song comes in with the knights, helps clean this up, and simultaneously, while Capoch is distracted, he's going to lose all his wheels on his wood line. The team coordination of Vietnam Legends are just absolutely amazing here. Something that I expected from them, to be honest. The Vietnam Legends is one of the best teams in terms of team coordination. One of the reasons why they are a super high level team, and Nicov just halfway up to Castle Age here against the Castle Age player already. Is this live? It is meant to be live, however, we're using recorded games because the players couldn't actually find a time that is suitable for all of them to play, so normally the tournament is live games, but this time, because of scheduling issues, the casters are provided recorded games, but this is the first time these recs are shown, so theoretically speaking, you can consider this live. So as things stand, Vietnam Legends has only a 6 villagers lead, which is a bit of a surprise considering the fact that ACCM killed 11 VLs, Bad Boy killed 11 VLs, and basically every single Vietnamese player has a positive villager kill death ratio. So that basically means that they are supposed to be a lot more ahead economically. The main reason why they are not is because MbL's eco is slightly stronger than Song Song's eco. Nicov, however, he can't afford to take this fight. He's up against Britain crossbows with 8 range, +1 defense, and ballistics. Now he's gonna have his crossbow upgrade as well, Botkin not in just yet. So Nikov's going to take some losses here, as the reinforcements are being cut off. And more importantly, MbL's getting overrun. MbL's got 10 knights somewhere, but I don't see any of those knights. It looks like those were small groups of knights that were sent to relieve the pressure from Nicov, but I think that MbL's gonna need everything he has to fight this one, and even then it's going to be rough, because it is 30 knights and 20 Ethiopian crossbows versus just about 10-15 knights at maximum from MbL. So you can jump on that stable indeed if you are ACCM, and Song Song, you can just take that stable down and sort of damage the production of the pocket player. Reinforcements get intercepted and Capoch arrives with his own crossbows. As you see that ACCM tries to take the hill here, this might be a decisive engagement. I think the positioning is way better for ACC or for MbL and Nicov. We're going to have Capoch firing down hills here with the crossbows, nice little choke point as well. And he is able to destroy the majority of the knights before they could even close the distance. And now the crossbows of ACCM are a little slow to catch up, although the surround is there from Song Song now. Still, I think they will be able to clean this one up. The bigger problem is that at this point, Bad Boy is massively ahead compared to Nicov. Nicov is at 11 crossbows, Bad Boy is at 25. Nicov is 1 TC, Bad Boy is 3. And just look at all these villas that will go down at the wood line. So while there is basically a 2v2 on the south, there is going to be just a 1v1 that Bad Boy is winning decisively on the north, because Nicov is starting from mid of massive deficit. Also, we have a couple of crossbows from ACCM inside the base of Capoch, and one thing that ACCM does really well is use small groups of crossbows to harass the opponent and just destroy his eco. Using small groups of crossbows is always dangerous, because you want to have one big group that just destroys everything. If you have small groups, they will be cleaned up by the opponent's knights or so, but if you use small groups, you have to be very proactive with them and just keep killing vills, and that's something that ACCM was able to do. Now, this is not a fight that ACCM wants to take, despite the fact that he's got Ethiopian crossbows, but he doesn't have +2 defense, he doesn't have knight support here. He's gonna try to take some downhill shots, but eventually he ends up being downhills himself. Relief force coming in now from Song Song, and at this point it seems like the two armies of archers will be traded. These crossbows apparently taking a day off before deciding to engage in this fight, and this probably ends up being slightly better for MbL's team. Nicov also launching counterattack himself, but MbL, once again his eco is gonna be under pressure, and I think the overall ecos tell you the story, especially because Nikov's eco got absolutely wrecked. I haven't even looked at that vill count, but Nicov is at 25 vills. Make it 24. I mean, I'm very much surprised about how good the economy of MbL is. 84 vills compared to the other pocket, 90 from Song Song, given the fact that he has been pushed and he has been losing vills left and right. Like, MbL in this game lost 11 vills, only killed 3, yet he is still comparable in villager count to the other pocket. But Nicov lost 39 vills in this one. He's just getting torn apart by Bad Boy, because Nicov actually had a very, very disastrous feudal age as he got doubled and his war was burnt up by that time. And after that, it just sort of snowballs out of control because Bad Boy was able to get to Castle Age much faster, get to Crossbowman faster, and from that point on, he was just harassing Nicov all day, all night. It looks like the knights from Song Song will just go for the will kills. It might be dangerous though because the crossbows of Bad Boy may end up being intercepted by the knights, but these Serengeti wood lines would allow you to nicely group up your crossbows, and you will take this little choke point here, indeed, and that is going to mean that MbL can't engage this one, and they will just call the GG's as they realize that the eco for Nicov is pretty much gone. Capoch was imping, but so was ACCM, and they also probably realized that MbL is running out of knights here. Very nice done by Vietnam Legends, and I sort of received the thing I actually expected from this game. MbL+Nicov+Capoch and Daniel are probably mechanically better than the Vietnamese players, especially MbL+Nicov. However, the team coordination for the Vietnamese team is actually much better, especially because MbL+Nicov have good team coordination. They have been playing together for a long time, but they haven't teamed up with Capoch or Daniel, I think, ever. So they have a third member that they don't really have a good team chemistry with, whereas the Vietnamese teams have been playing team games together for years now, basically. So I think that was the key, team coordination, and especially the feudal age pressure on Nikov's eco. So I think this dip here in Nikov's population, the coordinated attack of Bad Boy and Song Song were the ones that actually sort of started snowballing the game, and you see that the result is this. Bad Boy reached Castle Age here at like minute 23 and a half, and Nicov reached at 26. So that difference was caused by the fact that Bad Boy and Song Song were able to do quite a lot of damage to the eco of Nicov. So the way that this works in this tournament, and this may be confusing for those that are seeing this for the first time, is that the second score, like right now it's the 1-0 score line. The second score is going to be given to the team that wins a best of 3 in 1 versus 1s. So each team is going to have to delegate one player for each game, and whoever wins this mini best of 3 gets the second score. So we will sort of switch to the 1v1 section, and it looks like we will open with Capoch versus Song Song, and I have seen this map. I think it's called Dim Al Sum or something like that. When they tried it, this is one of the most gimmicky maps in the entire tournament. So it's a nomad start. You have this caravan that I have no idea what it's actually responsible for. The map doesn't have wood lines. Instead, they have these piles of wood. You see, the pile of wood actually attributes for 100,000 wood by itself. There is neutral camps in the corners, and this AI actually is going to attack you. For whatever reason, these are called cavalry raiders, and another cavalry raider, but that's a cav archer. These are apparently guarding relics over here in the corners, but it doesn't seem to have any other importance. So this is just for the relics. The middle of the map seems to be some sort of swamp that seems to have a little strategical importance in terms of fishing. It probably is more about denying walls. The map is super duper open, obviously. And we will have a Byzantine mirror here between the two players. We will have Song Song as Byzantines on the right side in blue, and left side is going to be Capoch as Byzantines as well. Each of these maps has a certain amount of preset civilizations that you can choose from, so they can't actually go for hidden free pick here. Well, they sort of can, but they have to choose from a certain limited portion of maps available, and that is... wait a second, I'm gonna have to look it up. I think the map is called al-Samim, and it was created by Zetnus, who is actually one of the more renowned map makers of the community. And we do have an ox cart and a camel that you start with, so no scouts. And the reason why you have an ox cart is because you can use the ox cart to push in deer. The wonders of technology, right? Obviously, considering that you will need wood, and the only source of wood that is possible is these piles of wood. You always build your TC right next to these. This is a super open map, so scouts openings are very possible. But keep in mind that your food count early on is not great. You don't have berries, you don't have boars, so it's technically possible that you will have to add a lot of farms anyways. Might as well try sort of a fast castle-ish play. It's a gamble because the map is very open, but your opponent isn't going to have a fast feudal age either, so a fast castle might actually be worth it. So let me check Byzantines. Yeah, there is 3 options for this map. Oh, actually, it's written here. Yeah, it's called al-Samim. Each of these maps, by the way, is based on like real deserts. The tournament is called World Desert Championship. So these are actually using real historical locations, although I've never actually heard about this desert myself. We'll have deer being pushed in by both players. And, oh yeah, I actually forgot about the super berries. Because we don't just have super trees, we also have a pile of food. Each of these berries actually attribute for 750 food over here. So the wood deposits by themselves are 100,000 each. The sort of single berries that you have, these are actually pretty far away, and I would assume... Where is the one on the side of... Wait a second. Oh yeah, Capoch has it over here. So these are 750, and you always have them with a cart on it because it apparently seems like someone actually lost his food on his cart in the middle of the desert. Gold and stone mines seem to be standard here. So let's see what we got here for Capoch. He's actually 3 on wood. His opponent is only 2, but remember that you don't need to make a lumber camp. This is one of the things to point out. Normally on Arabia, there is no problems. You just make a lumber camp and a mill and you can click up to the feudal age. See, in this case, Song Song actually has to make a lumber camp on the other side because otherwise he wouldn't have the buildings to click up. Now, this is a bad lumber camp. And the reason why is because you see that the surface area in which you can chop this pile of trees or pile of wood is actually pretty small compared to an actual wood line, right? So in this case, if you place it right next to this pile of wood, your villagers can only access this pile from this side. So when you're doing this on this map, you kind of want to leave one tile gap in between your lumber camp and the pile of wood because you want to sandwich villagers in between this pile of wood and your lumber camp. That's basically the concept of this one. So yeah, this is not a great lumber camp here for Song Song. As you see, food count is actually a serious problem here, so this is why I said that it's very possible we will see early Dark Age farms here, because you don't have boars. The berry bush that you have is very limited, although 700 food is actually pretty nice, but still you don't have boars overall, so looks like feudal age will be there, and I'm pleasantly surprised by the fact that Song Song is able to pull off a 20 pop feudal. This looks like a blazing fast feudal to me. Oh, it's actually good. This is hard to tell because it looks like the pile of wood actually has this tile covered as well, because you have some graphics over there, but it looks like it's just deceiving, and the actual hitbox of the pile of wood ends over here where the villagers are chopping it. In this case, this is a perfect lumber camp for Song Song. It's just hard to judge because, well, guess what? The graphics extend over the actual hitbox, and probably the reason why we're seeing Byzantines here is because you can actually play Byzantine forward, something that Song Song loves to play. Let's talk about this one, because Song Song is definitely one of the players who is not shying away for forwarding, tower rushing, and that's exactly what we're seeing from him. Remember that because of the sort of lack of wood lines, you see very little actual deposits of wood. A tower rush can be very devastating here, because imagine if a tower goes up here. Suddenly, Capoch loses one of his wood lines, a second tower denies the other. So, because there's way less sort of deposits of wood, you can't just always relocate to another wood line like you would on Arabia. Obviously, there is a limit to that as well on Arabia, but you still have more flexibility than on this map. And this is the good old-fashioned traditional spear and skirm forward from Byzantines. Something that I haven't seen for quite a while. It's sort of an old-school style gameplay, as Capoch is just now reaching Feudal Age, and I'm fairly certain he wants to play Scouts here, because he already has a barracks out. And the thing is that it looks like he will have to change his plans and go for the skirmisher defense. I don't see any stone miners from Song Song, which means that he will only be able to drop one tower, but guess what? He already denies one of the berries, and as I said, that's actually a significant food source here for Capoch. Capoch trying to save his vills here, enters a vill fight, but the numbers seem to favor our blue player for the time being. Capoch needs to pull some more vills, and he will do so. He tries to trap Song Song in here, and will fail with that because this wall foundation just wasn't finished. Now he will try to use the Ox Cart to block the vills of the opponent escaping, and it seems like Capoch's defense was actually pretty satisfactory here. But as the skirm numbers increase for Song Song, he will suddenly be able to shift or sort of start winning this fight. Still, Capoch's defense seems to be quite nice overall, but he's got a lot of idle time here, so if Song Song doesn't lose anything, this is still better for Song Song, but if Song Song starts losing these vills, then suddenly it starts becoming better for our green player Capoch. Capoch getting housed here for a brief moment, same will be the case for Song Song. Luckily you're fighting, so if you end up losing one of your skirms, or end up losing one of your vills, then that housing issue will be solved. And I did mention that if Song Song starts losing vills here, then it's actually better for Capoch. Because even though Capoch has more idle time, he's forced to chase. The thing still is that you don't want to end up losing vills here, so you see that villager count is still that even, but that's a very, very low HP vill here, and Capoch knows that. Song Song, for the time being, just running for his life, trying to add some more skirms, as he's just trying to sort of isolate those vills from the base of Capoch. At this point, I think he's content to just trade vills with the green player, although it now seems like he's trying to focus down those skirms. This could be a dead vill here, because skirms have awful damage output, but one thing to point out is that Song Song actually grabbed fletching, and fletching for skirms is just so important in this game when you see Byzantine forwards or any kind of like spear and skirm forward. Because that extra damage that you do basically adds 50% extra. It's a massive, massive buff when it comes to killing vills, when it comes to killing the opponent's skirms, but it's more about killing the vills rather than the opponent. And look at Capoch finding the low HP vill, and that's going to be another snipe over there. Capoch is the only player that actually killed a vill in this game, but he did so against two of the enemy vills, whereas Song Song was unable to get any villager kills. Now the bad news for Capoch is that even though he actually killed vills from the opponent, he isn't leading in vill count, because in exchange he's microing a lot more, and he has 1 minute of extra TC idle time, which attributes for, well, 2 vills basically. And I think this is a fight that the Song Song might be content to take once he gets a little bit closer to home and pulls another vill to take down the opponent. Archer defense upgrade coming in as well for Song Song, so his skirms are going to be way better now than Capoch's skirms. Capoch is still now with fletching, but no defense upgrade, so once again, Song Song skirms are better. It looks like Song Song will have to fight this one soon, because otherwise Capoch will wall in his building and he will not be able to fight this one. But a couple of skirms pop out on the other side, and while these are distracted, they will try to stop that vill. Also, it very much seems like Capoch will be able to get home here with this vill, so Capoch is doing an excellent job preserving his vill count, but that may not matter because his opponent is forcing a lot of idle time on him. As things stand, we have 13 farms for our blue player, 12 for our green one. So, let's see. Does armor help in a skirm war? I would assume so, because +1 defense helps so much here, although you have to consider... Actually, you might be right. You have free base armor, and your opponent is gonna have a free damage, which means that you only do 1 damage per hit anyways, regardless of whether or not that's +1 defense or no defense upgrades, right? Now, one thing that it helps with is, for example, surviving longer against scouts, and this is what Song Song was preparing for. He brings in some scouts, something that apparently Capoch was unprepared for, and since he doesn't even have a single spearman out, this very much seems like it's gonna be a couple of skirms going down, and more importantly, this Will could go down. This would be a jackpot for Song Song here, finding that Will kill, and look at how much damage just one scout causes. Now a spearman is being brought in to take this one. Capoch will be able to finish the walls around that archer range, so the skirms can no longer pop out. Well, they can, but they will spawn inside the building. If a building is surrounded like this, the units will spawn inside the building, sort of, and they can never leave that. The only way that you can actually free them up is if you delete the building. So this will no longer be a very useful archer range here for Song Song, but as I said, the presence of scouts could turn things around really fast, because number one, these are only skirms, and suddenly you could be losing all of them to the scouts. Capoch needs his own stable as well, but it seems like he's not even remotely close to dropping that. Goes for a market. In here, most of the skirmishers are going to be cleaned up, as what Song Song needs to focus on is taking down that spearman, but that's going to be a little bit sloppy from him. He allows that spearman to land some shots on his scout. So it seems like Capoch is actually winning this one now fairly decisively. If you look at the army numbers, it's 22-5. It's still Capoch being on the defensive. But one thing that you have to consider, as this ox cart is sort of just looking at what Capoch is doing, he's also blocking building foundations here. So when you have this ox cart here, you sort of block your opponent from building here. And he's also scouting these wood lines. Is he going to... Technically, he can use this ox cart and sandwich it in between the lumber camp and the wood line to make it a little bit more inefficient when it comes to gathering wood. Song Song, he's waiting for one big jump, and when he gets to like 4 or 5 scouts, then that's going to be very, very devastating. Capoch now comes in with his spears and skirms though, and suddenly his opponent is the one that has no tools to defend against this one, because if you think about it, his archer range is actually gone. In fact, he even deleted this because he decided that he probably would have a hotkey issue. Like, he wants to queue up units on his archer range, but he doesn't want them trapped over here. So instead, he deletes this. Although he technically has a house here, so he could have deleted the house and still have this open. That was a little sloppy maybe from him. As things stand, the Capoch is pulling his army back home here upon seeing the scouts converging on him. Neither of the players... Actually, look at Capoch. Look at Capoch. He's on the way towards Castle Age. Interesting. So is this bird flying black... Wait, no, that's a vulture. That's actually a vulture, but... It very much seems like Song Song is going to bump into these raiders. I wonder if he actually wants to aggro them. I'm not sure if you can aggro them and like lure them close to the opponent's base, but it doesn't seem like that was the initial plan from Song Song. So, with Capoch going into Castle Age, he can definitely go for knights. I think he should open like one camel, because one camel deals with these light cav, and then he can just go knights. He doesn't have an amazing food eco, but the map is so open that just a couple of knights could do insane damage. Just as it is in the case of these super open maps, the first 2 knights might actually end up winning the game. Although we have to add that for that you need to survive the initial push of scouts on you, because that is going to be an advantage sort of for Song Song. He is the one with the military numbers. He killed 2 villas over here, but I don't think that was a decisive victory for Song Song. He needed more kills to compensate for the fact that he's still 2 minutes away from Castle Age. He's gonna click up, but you see that his goldman is already very exposed. And the thing is that normally you would just go for a spearman defense against knights, but when your opponent has skirms in here, they will just pick off the spears, and this is the moment where things will get really rough for Song Song. He tries to quick wall his villas on the gold mine, 2 minutes away still from Castle Age. He's doing his best to take this fight, but I don't think that he's gonna have enough numbers. As I said, Castle Age is just a so big power spike here, and we are even seeing Capoch going for crossbowman, which would allow him to just limit the map control of his opponent to basically 0. But these knights are the main damage dealing units right now. They just need to run around and start killing stuff. like this wood line, for example, and you see that you already have to evacuate that for Song Song. He might be able to reach Castle Age, though. That's something to keep an eye out on. And when he reaches Castle Age, he needs to make a couple of camos, and he could take this fight. For this reason, Capoch needs to make his own camos, because he needs to be prepared for his opponent going for camos himself. The Knight's apparently not really working well here on this gold mine, but this is why Capoch's crossbows actually will help quite a bit. You can use that Knight to soak up the arrow fire and then use the crossbows to pick off the wheels from the other side of the wall. One tower goes down here from Song Song, but he's almost up, trying to go for stone mining. Capoch does have reasonable resources in the bank and a fairly decent army. Song Song is only 5 army, and more importantly, just 1 stable in here, and I don't see any momentum for Song Song to counterattack this one. As I mentioned at the end of the first game, the individual skill of the players on MbL's team, so in this case Capoch, is probably better than that of the Vietnamese players. So the Vietnamese team has to focus on team game wins, although it's possible that we're going to see someone like ACCM upsetting MbL or Nicov, or maybe Bad Boy against the other as well. So the problem now for Song Song is that he's making camos, but as long as there is crossbows on the field, especially with these camos not having bloodlines and only having +1 defense, the crossbows actually contribute quite a bit at just cleaning this up. Still, I did mention that I think Capoch needed his own camos before this, and considering that he doesn't really have a lot of forces here, this is a disaster for Capoch. He runs into the spearmen, he runs into the camos, and he's going to lose quite a lot of precious knights here in this engagement. He's still denying a lot of eco from Song Song, so you see the difference. Capoch had 15 minutes idle eco, Song Song had 1 hour and 20 minutes idle eco. There is a considerable difference between the two, I have to say. Still, Song Song might still be able to somehow crawl back into this one. It's going to be awfully hard, because he's behind by 13 villas now, and as I said, his map control is very limited. He's mining stone pretty heavily, so he might actually want to drop an additional town center. Capoch finds another vill kill over here, and overall, the villager KD is much better for Capoch. So he killed 7 villas, only lost 2, as now it's a camo war. Upgrades are actually better for Song Song now. He grabbed +2 defense, although in a camo war you probably prefer +1 attack, but he was probably anticipating more crossbows to hit the field, and he's not wrong. Crossbows are still out there for Capoch, just to make sure that those camos can be contained, although there is no botkin arrow on these crossbows, so they're not super efficient at destroying camos. It looks like we might have another TC being added here by Song Song in a moment, as the crossbows will jump on the gold mine, and then just retreat upon seeing the tower firing at them, as it seems like Song Song will launch a big counterattack. Capoch is mining stone with 9. I think Capoch is going to use his current military advantage, as first he intercepts the reinforcements coming in. This is a costly loss here for Song Song. He lost like 4 camos for very little gain. I think Capoch will just castle drop here. If Capoch drops a castle here, he denies this wood line, he denies this gold mine. Alternative would be over here, but Capoch has all the tools he needs to drop a castle in the face of the opponent, and now he has the stone for it as well. He's going to lose a couple of villas here, but I think it's going to be easier for him to defend, because he's got double stables back at home. Going for husbandry, he also quick walls his villas on the gold mine. And in the meanwhile, his opponent doesn't really have a good answer to crossbows, especially if botkin is in, and that is now in as well for Capoch. 28 army versus 17, and more importantly 69 villas versus 49. Way better population as well for Capoch, and I think we're just waiting for him to decide on a castle drop. He will first clean this up as he grabs forging. He probably wants to wait until he takes this fight with forging, but it very much seems like Song Song is not really happy to take that engagement anyways. So if this tendency continues, Capoch might be close to even being able to drop 2 castles, and there's the first castle being dropped. Not necessarily my favorite spot, but this seems like it's the safest spot, especially because I'm not sure if Song Song will be able to spot this one. He needs to bring in the crossbows to protect that, but I think he's got the numbers advantage to do this. So camo numbers are 11 versus 12, but that 12 camos is basically the entire army of Song Song, whereas Capoch also has 18 crossbows in here to help out, so he should have no trouble getting this castle up, and that's gonna be just enough to range that gold mine. And remember that there is not a huge amount of gold that you can work with, although it seems like Song Song is just about to take 2 more gold mines here, so this castle may not finish the game entirely. Song Song will see this castle drop, but he can't do anything to prevent it, so this castle is definitely going up here. Other side, the camels are still lurking around. You could make a case for a pikeman upgrade here for Capoch and just bring in a couple of spearmen. Especially with Byzantines that are so cheap, you could really get a pretty decent defensive force out here. And this is how you actually quick wall a wood line like this one. So, nice quick walls from Capoch. Castle goes up and denies this gold mine. Other side, it looks like crossbows might find a couple of wheel kills. They don't have ballistics, so they won't be particularly effective at annihilating wheels, as both players get to the 3rd town center. Capoch is still on stone, so second castle is not a horrible idea in the near future for him. And a forward siege workshop comes in as well, so he will sort of start transitioning this into a Hoang style push with mangonels. And remember that the wood lines are very scarce on this map, so should you lose this town center, you would lose access to this wood line entirely. Apparently the corners aren't really significant here, so it's more like an aesthetics thing, and you can actually secure relics this way. But such an open map is never about relics, to be honest. The mangonel comes in here from our blue player Song Song. He lands a decent shot on top of those wheels. No one actually loses his life, though, in the process. Still, Capoch needs to be careful, because while he actually possesses a wheel lead 90 to 74, his opponent is doing a pretty nice job preserving his camo numbers. So if the raids continue, this could be somewhat troublesome for Capoch, but I think Capoch is just thinking about another castle. This could be a decider one in the game, because if somehow Capoch can get some, or the Song Song can get some nice mangonel hits on the crossbows or the wheels, or even the camels, he might be able to stop this one, but it looks like the micro from Capoch is good enough. He snipes down the mangonel, and the second mangonel for Song Song is very far away, so he's going to lose this gold mine. He will have to try and work his way towards this other one, but let's be honest, that seems very unlikely. He needed a miracle to bring this one back because he was set back so much, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen for him, and now he's going to lose all the gold mines. He's replacing a TC, so he's not giving up, really embracing that nomadic gameplay that this map is all about, but like constantly replacing your TCs is not something that you want to see, and it looks like these wheels will just straight up rush this tower down in an effort to make sure that they can actually potentially start mining this gold mine even. A mangonel was out, but I think this siege workshop is in the range of the castle, so in the moment this pops out, the castle is going to destroy him. So, see that mangonel pops out, actually gets a decent ground attack, and now misses the second one. Repair villagers coming in here for Song Song. Capoch loses most of his crossbows in the process, as Capoch is actually having gold control issues, I'm just now noticing. Or at least that's what I assume, because Capoch is actually mining these gold mines, and I don't necessarily see why he would do that. He's got some gold mines back at home, but it seems like these are getting raided, and that is maybe the reason why Song Song isn't giving up yet. He feels like he can actually play gold denial game here. Still, I think that Capoch can just potentially take this gold mine now. I don't think that gold denial is gonna work here for Song Song, especially because his army numbers are slowly disappearing. Although, look at the will count. Song Song is not giving up on this one easily, and one thing that we have to add is that while the direct push is pretty scary from Capoch, Song Song has been raiding quite actively, and now he's got 27 will kills compared to 14, and he just keeps killing wills. This game is so messy, man. Oh, castle comes in here from Song Song, both players bringing in their camels to join the fun, but it looks like Capoch is the one that disengages, which will result in a couple more villager casualties. And if you are Song Song, you could make a case for trying to ram this castle down. Remember that right now, Capoch doesn't really have a super reliable gold mine. Or technically he has these gold mines, but those are being raided constantly. I think Capoch needs a TC on one of these gold mines, and indeed, if this goes up, he should be good to go. Or the alternative is that he's going to take this gold mine, and you see that he's sort of scrambling for gold. He's got a bunch of vills here that are unable to access gold. 0 on gold right now for him. If he actually gets his gold income back on track, his food eco is way better. So he can click into Imperial with the cheaper Byzantine Imperial Age, get a trap out, and just trap this castle down to finish the game. And still, we're talking about 13 versus 12 army, so neither of the players now has an amazing army here. But Song Song, what is he doing? He tries to garrison his vills, but the TC is full, so the villagers are just chilling beneath the town center, but that results in vills getting killed left and right. Song Song just needs any kind of cavalry unit here from this stable to destroy that mangonel. It looks like he will bring in a camel from the other side, and that should be a dead mangonel. Song Song is still trying this, and I have to say he takes over in villager count. He just takes over with the vill count. That is actually sick. I still believe that the position that Song Song is in is not great, but the score has flipped, and he's going to drop a tower in here. He really feels like he can actually do the gold denial game, but I don't think it's actually a possibility. So far, however, we have to say that the game is getting closer and closer. And in early Castle Age, it very much seemed like Capoch will win the game. And now, I'm not saying that Song Song is winning. In fact, I think he's far from that. However, I don't think that Capoch is necessarily dominating the game anymore. If you look at the army numbers, those feel fairly close. And as I mentioned, what Song Song is thinking about is rushing down this castle with rams. Still, Capoch has some gold income over here, and that was a more than ambitious tower for Song Song, let's just say that. That was a more than ambitious tower, trying to tower rush that wood line. Still, this is something we didn't even notice. When did this castle go up? Song Song actually castle drops Capoch, and now he can transition to something different. Food denial. And such an open map, it might be easier to deny food than it is to deny gold. Because there are so many gold mines you can relocate to. I have no idea what these guys are doing here in the corner, and I have to say that if Song Song wants to win this game, he can't afford to lose vills like that, because now Capoch takes over in vill count as well. But the thing is that Capoch will have to relocate half of his farming eco. This is like 15-20 farms that are now gone, and you see that he has to build new ones. And another castle comes in here from Song Song. This would be a perfect castle if it goes up. It denies this wood line, and remember that Capoch's wood income isn't necessarily something that's super safe, and also, it would deny a huge amount of farming space. And one thing that you can build on is just flooding camels, dropping castles to deny farming space, and because you deny farming space, your opponent will struggle to, you know, get his army numbers up. Oh, look at that. Look at Capoch's game sense. He's spamming houses, because he knows that if he builds a house there, then the castle cannot be built. Still, it very much seems like this castle is going up. Camel numbers, 21 versus 14. Now Song Song is losing a huge amount of vills, 55 to 44 villager KD, both players at even vill count, but Capoch is the one that has to run away from his farming eco, and if you look at Song Song's base, this wasn't raided for some time, so he's got 32 on food. His opponent... Lord Doubt bless us. I think this is going up. This is going up, but this is actually a proper Doubt castle. Most of the builders end up dying. So, this may have not been worth it for Song Song, although, as I said, it's debatable, especially with a couple of vill kills here. Even a tower in the middle of the farming eco comes in. A castle drop on the left side by Capoch to secure that gold mine for himself. Simultaneously, while Capoch is distracted, a battering ram comes in here to take down this castle. And as things stand, Song Song relocates his vills here to this wood line. Can we just mention how much like relocation there is in the players? They've been chasing each other for the last 20 minutes or so. This map is not supposed to go into like a late Imperial scenario. Iron casting on the way for Song Song, which is going to make his camels slightly better than the opponent's camels, and as I said, Capoch seems to have some trouble replenishing his camel numbers because he's losing farming eco, and now it's going to be guard tower rush. as Song Song starts securing stone on the north. Capoch has a lot of camos on the right side, something that Song Song could actually be surprised about. This castle finally goes down, which actually helps Song Song just clean up his base a little bit more and make sure that he's the one that's attacking and not the other way around. Here comes the guard tower, but Vills are already coming in to rush this one down. It's murder hose time, boys. Both players actually having a huge eco now, 132 and 123 Vills. Another TC goes down though from Capoch, and I feel like Capoch is losing ground faster than his opponent is. Because while there is raids coming in from Capoch, you see that he's killing a couple of Vills. Song Song is also able to kill a huge amount of Vills here, but he's also pushing his opponent back at a quite rapid pace. If this TC goes down, you once again lose like 15-20 farms, and rebuilding TCs is not something that you want to do on a frequent basis, that's for sure. Murder Hose. Here comes Murder Hose for our blue player. The camo numbers are still better for Capoch, 33 to 25, but you do have +2 attack on those camos for our blue players, so that sort of evens things out a little bit. And we're gonna have stone mining for Song Song, as he's actually dropping a tower that's walled in here on this stone mine, following it up with another tower. And remember that this tower now has Murder Hose, and it's a guard tower, so it actually does quite a decent damage against these camos, and the other tower also helps. So Capoch just has nowhere to go. He loses the TC here. Few more towers in here. Capoch, 37 on food, 51 from his opponent, but Capoch is up to Imperial, and Song Song isn't. Song Song is going for a lot of eco upgrades. I think Song Song will be able to pick up soon as well. And now he's the one with the camo numbers advantage, and the quality of the camos is better as well. But if Capoch gets to Imperial, he will have Trebs, and this will be a completely different scenario. Still, Capoch only has 2 castles. He is coming in with the camos. The other tower goes up as well here for Song Song. Song Song is just tower rushing everything here with guard towers. I have to say that this is... like, this is one of the good things about crazy maps. It sometimes goes so crazy that it's just entertaining to watch. And don't underestimate guard towers with Murder Hose and 5 Vills inside killing camos. Yeah, they will destroy this tower, but you see that Capoch will be losing significant portion of his camos. Better late than never, says Capoch, and grabs Horse Color after 59 minutes in the game. Song Song is getting close to clicking up as well, but he's gonna be massively delayed compared to his opponent. The question is, will Capoch be able to afford the heavy camo here? Because if he grabs heavy camo, that's a completely different scenario in this one. And more importantly, here comes another castle. Song Song is going to buy a castle for himself here. Buy a castle. He wants to castle drop this TC now. Imperial Age in for Capoch. He clicks heavy camo, and it looks like this will be the position for another castle here. Indeed, Song Song needs to start adding pikemen here to deal with the heavy camos, because he's gonna be quite a bit behind in heavy camo numbers. Let's see if he's gonna do that. Or even Arbalest could work now. Capoch is about to lose another TC here. Remember that Capoch can actually start queuing up Trebs, but these are Byzantine buildings. And Byzantine buildings are super sturdy. So you see that this already has 6000 HP, plus it's on a hill. So it's gonna be hard to take this down with just one Treb, especially if there is a lot of Vills repairing, and it looks like we're going to have pikemen coming in from Song Song. Capoch is losing massive amounts of Vills though. So Capoch is down to 107. We have a pop cap for Song Song, 150 population only for Capoch, and oh, that's the disaster! He's trying to mine stone in the corner, but this is where the neutral AI just joins the party, and the Eastern Swordsman, the Raider, is killing Capoch. Everything up against Capoch now is losing all his eco. He's got heavy camos, that's the only thing that could save him, that his army is way better than Song Song's army. But if Song Song can just, you know, avoid taking fights for some time, he's gonna be able to get heavy camo himself, and I don't think Capoch has the capacity to rebuild his army. He's down to 87 Vills, and just look at all the Vill kills. Song Song, a madman here. I thought this game is over in early Castle Age, but he thought otherwise. Capoch has no eco. Capoch has absolutely no eco. Now, keep in mind that Capoch can also do quite a lot of raiding here with the heavy camos. I saw Scale Mill and Immediately Habadir is being teched into by Song Song, so he probably knows that he's got the advantage here, takes down one trap, but he will be unsuccessful taking down the other. He grabs Heavy Camo himself, but if he brings in a couple of Habadirs, that's going to delay this one quite considerably. It's only pikemen right now, but it's +2/+1 on those pikemen, so you're fairly cost efficient here. And remember, as I said, Capoch doesn't have the eco to replenish this. He's at 58 vills. This TC at least survives for Capoch. And right now there is also 40 idols for Song Song, but Byzantine cheap Habadirs actually do quite decently here against those camos. Capoch taking into Habadir himself with Scale Mail, but his opponent is about to have Heavy Camo himself, so from that point, Song Song can also take engagements. He's probably going to be bringing in some traps here on this side, and it very much seems like Song Song just keeps raiding. It's all about the raids right now. Capoch down to 56 vills. What a game this is! And it's probably a heartbreaker for Capoch's team right now, because this was supposed to be a game that was won. He was beating his opponent to Castle Age by a massive margin, killed a huge amount of vills. In early Castle Age, we were talking about a 58 to 43 vill lead or something like that. But the thing is that Song Song never gave up, and maybe the late game macro was slightly better. He just kept raiding in all directions, and I think this Vill KD tells you the huge story. 169 kills by Song Song on villagers, only 83 by Capoch. By the way, Capoch lost 181 vills, his opponent only killed 169, which means that 12 villagers were actually killed by the NPCs in the corner. So, these guys that are now being cleaned up by Song Song. No relics for either player just yet, but Capoch's army is cleaned up, he's at 80 population, and now wherever I look, he's just getting overrun. Capoch calls the GG, and in this best of 3, which is, as I said, a subset of, the entire best of 5 set, Vietnam Legends takes game number 1. We cannot actually add like a second scoreline, so what I'm going to do is add it over here, so you see that right now, in this sub best of 3, it's a 1-score lead for Vietnam Legends. What a game this was. Let's just look at the timeline here for a moment. Just look at the percentage share of armies for the two players. It was always bigger for Capoch. At this point, for example, Song Song had no army, Capoch had like 30. But then Song Song just kept raiding, and you see the gradual decrease in the population share of Capoch as he got absolutely raided to death. And as I said, the overall Vill KD is what shows the real difference between the two players here. 180 kills for Song Song on Vills, only lost 90. Crazy game here. And if now on the other Vietnamese player wins this game, then they will be up 2-0. It looks like it's going to be Painted Desert, and we will have Bad Boy versus ACC. Wait, no, Bad Boy versus MbL. That's what I want to say. So, Bad Boy versus MbL will be the two players for this one. We're going into the second game of this subset. Painted Desert is a fairly standard map, so I would say this probably favors MbL a little bit. You usually have forward golds though, and the front of your base is always very much open. We're going to have MbL representing his team on the right side in yellow as Aztecs, and the left side is going to be Bad Boy for Vietnam Legends in blue Chinese. So this is the first time, yeah, basically the first time we're not seeing a mirror matchup in these 1v1s. Previous game was a mirror, and this time it's going to be somewhat more asymmetrical. Yeah, once again, just to reiterate, basically, the second score that a team gets is going to be going to the team that has won a best of 3 in 1v1s. This is a team game tournament, but there is a best of 3 1v1 subset for the second score. After the second score, it's going to be just standard team games once again. We're going to have MbL on the right side in yellow, and on the left side, we're going to have Bad Boy in blue Chinese. As I said, both players starting off with deer pushing because guess what? You don't really need to scout that much on the front of your base. There is no actual wood lines in front of you, so once you see your berries and your gold, you're good to go to push deer. And wood lines are always on the outside. This is something that's quite well defendable in this one. Other side, as I said, MbL is going to be choosing a somewhat unfortunate wood line, if you ask me, because this is not really well defendable. This would have been a perfect lumber camp spot. This would have been an excellent one. I don't blame MbL. This is not an awful lumber camp. It's just a matter of this would have been way better overall. The games are not live because they couldn't find a time frame that everybody can play in. That's basically how it's possible. So normally the tournament is being played with live games, but this time the players, because of the many different time zones, they couldn't actually play in this time frame. So they decided to go for recorded games. But this is the first time these recorded games are shown, so you can consider these live. It's fresh out of the oven. Alright, we have a 4 on wood for Bad Boy, which means he will go for some sort of archer-based play. That's a little bit risky, but it's not a bad idea. With Chinese, you probably want to do like an archer plus skirmisher style gameplay, because you want to force the Aztec player to switch into Ego Warriors. Because the Aztecs will eventually switch into Ego Warriors, and the reason why you want to do that is because you want to switch into Knights yourself. So, if you open Scouts, your opponent is gonna go like Spear and Archer, and there will be no motivation for the Aztec player to switch into Egos. Instead, if you go for Archers, the Aztec player will probably have to switch into Egos eventually, and that allows you to go for a Knight switch. So, second board is in as well for Bad Boy, a little bit early because he hasn't finished with the first one just yet. Overall, his base is actually very defendable, but he doesn't have a gold mine at the back. In fact, all of his gold mines are very open. He could technically use these wood lines to sort of secure this gold mine. That would be something that he can work with. Other side, for MbL, his gold mines are also very, very bad, all the way on the front. In general, on this map, you're going to have front gold mines, so that's not surprising, but it's going to be hard to defend now. This is going to be important. The barracks will be spotted by Bad Boy, so he knows that MbL is probably thinking about a man-at-arms opening here. With Aztecs, that's fairly straightforward, I would say. I don't necessarily think that Drush is that legitimate here. Probably man-at-arms opening is slightly better because you want to push off your opponent from gold or berries in early feudal, and you don't delay your archers that much with the man-at-arms archers play compared to Drush archers. So, as things stand, MbL is going to see that his opponent is not making a barracks just yet. And are we actually gonna see scouts? Because I don't see any vills being sent to gold by Bad Boy. If he goes for scouts, I don't like that. Although the map is very, very open, so technically you can do quite a lot of raiding and you can use mobility advantage nicely to just harass the opponent. But I think that MbL, especially knowing MbL, who likes to walk quite a bit and is pretty good with the quick walls, it probably feels awkward. Okay, now there is villas being sent to gold. Those were a little late, so it looks like it's going to be standard straight archers. And let's see if Bad Boy will take this fight. Bad Boy could try and wait until he gets to Feudal Age, because in Dark Age, we're going to have the Ego being better than the Scout, and this is the moment to fight for Bad Boy, because in Feudal, suddenly that Scout actually starts becoming better than the Ego. MbL brings in the Militias, quick walls are up for Bad Boy, so it looks like MbL is actually going to play Tower Rush here, something that I don't think that Bad Boy expected, and honestly, if you get a tower up here, that's going to be a disaster for Bad Boy. That denies the gold and that denies the berries as well. So Bad Boy might need to rush up a defensive tower himself, but I don't think that he was prepared for this one. Here comes the tower on the gold, and oh wait, hold on for a moment. I actually need to edit this score because Capture Age flipped sides. I'm just noticing that the first game in this best of 3 subset has been won by So 4 militias coming in here for MbL, classic old-fashioned Aztecs opening, and this could be a couple of Vills dead from Bad Boy. Indeed, that should be a Vill kill. And the scout also goes down, MbL tries to block that Vill. The villager will survive, so I guess the scout sacrificed himself to save his buddy, but guess what? Bad Boy doesn't have gold income. He could technically try and relocate to that gold mine, but that's already sort of a disaster. I guess the idea for Bad Boy will be that he wants to pop out like 2 or 3 archers and clean up these men-at-arms, and after that just rush this tower down. Still, as long as that eagle is alive, the eagle will be pretty decent at just picking off these straggler archers, and you definitely can say that Bad Boy right now is sort of scrambling for defense. I wonder if MbL knows about the other gold mine. MbL does not, but he sees the gold miner moving forward, so he may have spotted this just in time. But still, if Bad Boy is able to access gold, this might be slightly better for him overall, because something to consider is that MbL's eco upgrades are non-existent. He's got no double bidaxe, no horse color, whereas his opponent has bidaxe and he's got the Chinese farms as well. So I would say that the eco for our blue player is going to be slightly better, and that the investment of men-at-arms may not pay off. Those men-at-arms allowed you to drop a tower on the front, and I like that. However, after that, they won't be able to accomplish much, although, as I said, no berries for Bad Boy hurts quite a bit. If he loses the mill, he won't even be able to research Horse Color. Regardless, MbL doesn't have a single Vill on gold either, and just 2 archers could cause so much chaos inside MbL's base. MbL, on the other hand, adding eagles, and the good thing here with Aztecs is, as I said, eagles can clean up small groups of archers. These Feudal Age eagles aren't impressive when it comes to fighting against archers, especially when archers have fletching. But once you have 2 or 3 of them, you can still clean small groups like this one up. So, Bad Boy, for now, he's gonna be forced to drop quite a lot of farms, but that's not the end of the world with Chinese. He's going to live with them. I don't think Bad Boy is in that bad spot, to be honest, and keep in mind that MbL had to invest quite a bit into this tower rush, so in terms of villager time, in terms of getting 4 men-at-arms out is actually very expensive, as for now, the archers are just trying to do their best sniping down those eagles. I saw a stable coming up for Bad Boy, so he wants to add a couple of scouts to deal with the eagles, which makes quite a lot of sense here. Right now, MbL is doing an eagle skirm style strategy. Bad Boy will go for the scouts. Still, keep in mind that right now, Bad Boy is the player that's reacting, which means that eventually, MbL has a completely untouched eco. He's using up the berries. He's gonna be having a pretty decent farming eco as well. So MbL's untouched eco might start paying off soon, but now MbL's gonna be forced to make spearmen. Every moment you make spearmen, you're not making eagles. And that's a thing to keep in mind, because ideally you want to be making eagles, so making spearmen is not necessarily ideal here. Obviously he has to, because otherwise he has no tools to defend against those scouts. But scout and skirm is something I like more than eagle archer or eagle skirm in this one, mainly because of the production for Bad Boy. Also, MbL needs to have quite a lot of Vills on gold for a sustained eagle production. So you see that right now Bad Boy is trying to pick off the spearmen before engaging with the scouts, gets a couple of free hits on those skirms. Nice unit control to retreat. And now he's the one that has 16 farmers, MbL only at 11. And remember, MbL's army is a lot more expensive. He's making eagles, he's making archers, whereas his opponent is mostly just making scouts, and he does so with a fairly well-developed food eco. He's gonna be up to 19 farmers. He's also 10 on gold, so soon a market would be something that can be imagined for Bad Boy. So now scouts jump on the woodland. This is not something that you want to commit a lot to, because there's quite a lot of Vills here. But MbL miscoordinating his army here a little bit, and there is some idle time on MbL's eco now. And more importantly, MbL also had to relocate his gold mine, just like his opponent did. So I guess the thing is actually sort of even. Market coming in here for Bad Boy. And this is what I was referring to. Bad Boy, with the Chinese eco, having the horse color on the farms, or not horse color, but basically like half a horse color's worth, actually helps quite a bit. Plus, obviously, the fact that He technically is supposed to have even villager count compared to MbL when he grabs Wheelbarrow. So the power of the Chinese eco is actually going to be helping Bad Boy quite heavily here, and also the fact that he invested way less into his army. So egos are super expensive for feudal age economy, especially if you add archers as well, and a second range coming in for MbL, but Song Song is on, or Bad Boy is on the way to Castle Age. And if Bad Boy gets to Castle Age, Knights destroy everything. So this is why you usually try opening with archers against Aztecs, because Aztecs will eventually go for eagles, because that's what they want to do against archers. And in general, that's what Aztecs want to do. But in order to counter the eagles, you need to have cavalry. And I think this was a good fight here for Bad Boy. He sort of trades off his army against the eagles, and as I said, the key thing is lowering those eagle numbers. One thing that you still have to be careful about is that if MbL gets to Castle Age, triple barracks eagles is always something that's very scary to fight against. And also, there is an army here for MbL that Bad Boy cannot fight, so you might want to make a defensive tower over here. It may not be needed, but it's actually pretty dangerous. And speaking of MbL, does he know about that gold mine? He knows about it, and he's sending archers that way. Bad Boy's gonna have enough to defend here for the time being, but indeed here comes the defensive tower. Not something that may be completely necessary, but I feel like he's in a very good spot, and he just needs to make sure he doesn't throw the game away. And if Bad Boy beats MbL here, then they will get the second score of the set. MbL will jump on this tower, but I think the tower goes up. And there is enough meat here for Bad Boy to win this. And it's going to be even crossbows, but knights are the main damage dealing unit here. If you can get to crossbows, that's even better, because the crossbows will be able to shoot over quick balls as well. So crossbow knight would be even better. It looks like we only have one stable for Bad Boy. Bad Boy also had to make a defensive tower, so after all, he won't be able to add additional town centers. MbL is getting close to picking up. MbL forced to make another defensive tower on his gold mine. But this is the moment where I think Bad Boy has to press on. And if he brings in a couple more knights, especially if he grabs some upgrades for them, that's going to work really nice. MbL has to rush this tower up, but this may not go up, although it looks like the skirmishers will be able to force away the crossbows for the time being. Knights are coming in to clean up those skirms, and it looks like MbL didn't finish the tower. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but this feels like a mistake from MbL. Did he think that he finished it and accidentally clicked back on the stone? Because I don't see why you wouldn't finish a tower at 80%. And the crossbows will now retaliate with 2 wheels being picked off. I like how one knight is being sent to clean this tower up. And if you can get a town center up here for Songs or Bad Boy, it's going to be amazing. MbL running away here, and this is where it's getting really scary for MbL's team, because, yeah, sure, they lost the 3v3 in the first game, then they had a massive lead in the previous game in the 1v1, end up losing it. And now, Bad Boy, he's even getting for Thumbring, which is not something that I necessarily approve here. He's trying to play crossbows, and one thing that you have to consider is that Aztecs can always go for, like, a huge amount of eagles in Castle Age, and that could be very devastating. It looks like Song Song, I'm always confusing the two players, but Bad Boy will dive in beneath the TC. Those crossbows have Thumbring and ballistics, so they will kill so much here for MbL. MbL's down to 38 wheels. His eco is just getting annihilated here. Oh my goodness. And as I said, this is not a 1v1 that you want to lose. MbL should be a way better player than Bad Boy, but it looks like Bad Boy has had a better game here, and at this point, the problem for MbL is that, yes, he's Castle Age, he's gonna have crossbows, but he's gonna have 6 crossbows with limited upgrades, as opposed to 11 crossbows with Thumbring and ballistics. Still, I believe that the name of the game for Bad Boy is going to be Mass Knights. Nice move, beautiful macro from him. Look at that. He picks off all those pikemen, or well, right now just spearmen. And that allows the knights to engage soon. He's just waiting for the opportunity to strike with the knights. Once the crossbow numbers are low, once the eagle numbers are low, and he will actually engage this one. The knights don't have a single upgrade on them, so they're not actually particularly effective. And I think that Bad Boy is making a mistake not going for the power unit, the knights. Although he might be scared of Aztec monks, I can relate to that. But still, I think that Knights could have been a lot more helpful here. If Bad Boy had double stable Knights, he would be flooding Knights into MbL's eco, which is wide open for raiding. Still, as things stand, Bad Boy has now a free TC boom, or well, he will soon have one, and he's gonna be on stone. We know that the Vietnamese players like castle dropping. They like castle dropping a lot, not just Song Song, Bad Boy as well. So, if Bad Boy is able to maintain military presence on the map, then he will castle drop MbL here. And considering that the players have forward golds, a castle here would be devastating for MbL. Now, I did mention that you gotta be careful about Aztec's triple barracks eagles, because the fact that they can flood you with eagles is something that's really scary, and this is why I feel like, especially after seeing the second barracks and soon seeing the Eagle Warrior upgrade, Bad Boy will need to make a tech switch into Knights. Or alternatively Chukonu as well. But he needs to do something about the fact that his opponent is massing eagles, and he can just stay archers, that's for sure. In fact, as I said, I think he overinvested into archers, because Thumb Ring against Aztecs is not something that you really want to go for, considering that you are going to be facing eagles, and you know that. Now, the tower goes up here for MbL, but he loses another wheel, and it indeed seems like Bad Boy is going to start switching towards more cavalry. Scale botting on the way. MbL is forced to make defensive towers everywhere because these crossbows are just running all the way around his base, and they will once again camp down the bottom of this tower. Oh my goodness, that is so good. That is so good for Bad Boy. He's going to pick off another wheel. It's 65 wheels against 39. MbL is a big survivor, but I don't know how he would actually survive this one. And I guess it's fine for Song Song. That is once again Bad Boy. I'm just saying Song Song all the time because Song Song was the blue player in the previous game. So it's perfectly fine for him to trade off these crossbows to a couple more vills. And look at this, they are still denying this wood line. And MbL has to micro his units here in the middle. There is a siege workshop up, but MbL can't really afford a single mangonel, loses another vill. 43 population against 85. And I think at this point, Bad Boy, if he switches to like double stable knights and just gets like 20 knights out, then MbL has no response to that. MbL doesn't have the eco to make a tech switch into pikemen, and MbL won't be able to stop 20 knights with like monks or so. Now, as I said, the eagles can still be scary, and this is why I feel like Bad Boy has been underinvesting into cavalry here pretty badly. He's still playing crossbows, which actually pay for their price. He killed 20 wheels and only lost 1. However, he needs to react to the Eagle Warriors, because Aztec Eagle Warriors is still something that's going to be really scary. And you see that MbL, he's not giving up on this one just yet. Now it's going to be triple stables, though, even in fact quadruple stables. What am I even talking about? It's actually 5 stables for Bad Boy. That might be a bit of an overcommitment, though. 5 stables, I don't think that you can actually make all of them work at the same time. Still, while MbL is distracted fighting in the middle, he's going to keep losing vills, and I like how you're using those leftover crossbows to something really useful. And MbL won't be able to flood eagles here with 6 on food. MbL's got TC idle time as well. I feel like Bad Boy just needs to weather the storm. Warrior, thank you so much for the resub at 19 months. You blame technology demons for MbL's bad game. The tech demons has sabotaged him at every turn. Maybe. Thank you so much for the resub, Warrior. 19 months already. One of the long-time subs of the channel. I appreciate your support. Welcome back. And what's more important is that Song Song... It's not Song Song. It's Bad Boy. Thank goodness that we end this 1v1 set, because I would have set Song Song like 50 more times instead of Bad Boy. So Bad Boy actually wins against MbL here, which is a huge win. This is an enormous win, because this way Vietnam Legends is up 2-0 in this entire set, and I would have thought that, you know, MbL's team actually has to win the 1v1 sets, because individually they are supposed to be stronger than the opponents, but that wasn't the case. And Vietnam Legends looking really strong here. Not just in the case of the team games, also in the case of 1v1s. And now we will go into game number 3 over here. We're back on the lands of team games, thank goodness. So this time it is going to be, I have to open up the rulebook because I actually don't remember what exactly the settings are, but holy smokes, get your Omega Pockets ready. Welcome to a random map from the map pack. You see it says map pack, which means it's a random map, and hidden free pick, but you can't pick the civilizations that you picked here. You see that Magyars will be the civilization pick for Capoch in yellow because he thought he's gonna be pocket. We will have Nicov as purple, sort of Omega Pocket over here in purple, and MbL is gonna be the real flank in red. Other side, Mayan's flank for ACCM in blue, technically pocket for Song Song in green, and the Omega Pocket is Bad Boy in teal. It's actually referred to in AoE terms as Omega Pocket, believe it or not. Because right now you have other players lining up. Obviously, if you look at the Civ selections, it was obvious that they wanted to have 2 archer flanks and 1 cavalry pocket, but they weren't expecting this random map to be drawn by the random gods. And what we're going to have here is apparently a very, very close start for the 2 opponents with a hill in the middle. We have a fish on the right side and fish on the left side, and the map is actually asymmetrical. The left side seems to have a huge amount of gold and stone, and these are walkable shallows. The right side seems to have walkable shallows here as well that lead to these big wood lines. So in general, limited amount of wood available in the middle, and if you want to have a lot of wood, you have to fight for this one over here on the right side, joined up by the bears. And if you actually want to fight for gold and stone, you have to go to the left side and mine such well-positioned stone mines. So in this case, the Omega Pocket is almost guaranteed to go for a fast castle play, especially because this map is very, very easy to wall off. So I would say that the game plan for these teams should be something like wall off with the flank. The flank can play a little bit safer, like an archer build style, and maybe even add some stone walls. The Omega Pocket could go free TC boom, and the standard pocket could potentially try fighting water, because he would be untouched on land if the flank plays nicely, and he would have a decent fish boom. You see that with Lithuanians for Song Song, he's able to go for fast rock strategy, and that's a massive advantage over Magyars. So basically, I think Capoch's team wasn't preparing for this map. Well, they probably did see this map before, but what I was referring to is that when they selected the civs, they weren't expecting this map to be drawn by the random gods. So Magyars would have been a very, very good civilization on an open land map as a pocket. But in such a hybrid map setting, Song Song Lithuanians is far better over here. Good question. Do they have to explore, or they know what map they're on? Apparently they have to explore, but I think they probably can limit the amount of possibilities, because there is very few maps in the map pack, I would assume, in which you actually start with one line over here like that. So that is probably something that they probably considered at the beginning. You have docks up for the majority of the players, all 3 players from Vietnam Legends. And apparently Say My Name is not playing. So Bad Boy Song Song are playing in all of the games. ACCM didn't even get to play a game in the 1v1s, so I guess they were keeping ACCM for the decider game overall. Can they check the map info button? I don't think so, because I think the data in Capture Age is drawn as... That's a super fast rush! That's a super fast rush from MbL. He realized that his opponent is walling up, and it looks like ACCM is going to be losing 1 will here for granted. Luckily he's Mayan, so he can actually keep this one up, but they will need to bring in their additional scouts. We have some... Okay. Whatever, I don't know what that is for, or I don't know which game that is for, because we haven't had a drop just yet. So This is a very, very nice drush here from MbL. It's actually a super early one, so you see that. Actually, it's not that early, but I did say that the concept of playing this map, I would assume, is that the flank is responsible for protecting the teammates here with Woz, and MbL actually reacted quite nicely to that, brings in the militias, and makes sure that ACCM is unable to wall, tries to drag this out until Nicov and Capoch arrive with reinforcements. So, what I wanted to refer to is that apparently, with the exception of MbL, everybody has docs up as well on MbL's team. For now, it very much seems like the wars will still be finished, and this could be a huge thing. It looks like this is going to be a save and restore. Or at least that's what I am thinking. Yeah, it's gonna be a save and restore. Now, this is the question. Are we actually gonna have the second half of this game? Because I am not sure. The admin of the tournament, whoever Kyoto, is actually typing in the casters chat, so I would assume... And okay, so apparently, after the internet crashes, the players decided not to continue the set. I'm actually inquiring what's up with this, because technically, Vietnam Legends is leading 2-0, but they are the ones with internet issues, and I'll be very disappointed because this is probably one of the more entertaining maps to look into. So... give me a moment until the admins actually tell me what's gonna happen with this one. Technically, they could actually continue it at a different time, but I would be very much disappointed if that was the case. Because I was so hyped for this map, man. I mean, it's so crazy, it's so gimmicky that, you know, might as well love it. It would have been an awkward map, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it very much seems like we'll have some internet issues overall. So... it looks like they continued with game number 4 with another player. So there will be more games. I'll have to ask just to make sure, because they apparently played game number 4 with a different player. But that would mean that aM sort of takes this game as sort of an admin win type of a thing. I'll actually download the rec for the 4th game until we're waiting for the admins to tell me what's up. But that's the probably... maybe they... yeah, that could be a possibility. That maybe they replay this game if it's actually an even score at the end. I'm just sad because this was a so good map overall. So that's why I was a little bit disappointed. So apparently, according to the admins, between this dropping game number 3 and game number 4, there was a break. And indeed, it seems like it was Song's internet being bad. So Say My Name steps in. And for now, let's just go and continue with casting the 4th game while we're waiting for the admins to tell me what's up with game number 3, alright? So, we don't know what exactly is up, and It looks like they actually basically restarted it. Okay, this map is called PAG, by the way, which I think was one of the submissions. In fact, this was the winner of the map making contest. Okay, so I'm gonna try to try to actually conclude this one. I'll need to do a lot of fixing here because as there was a player change, now the score reset itself. So as things stand, in my interpretation, what happened is that they basically restarted this with another player. So say my name steps in instead of Song Song. But the admin said it's going to be going for the fourth game. So for now, I'm going to leave the score as it is. And we will see what's up with this. Anyways, this is the winner for the map making contest. We're going to have Italians for Say My Name in Deal. And the thing is that they're using different civs. So it's probably not just a restart. They actually are playing this as game number 4, I would say. On PAG, the possible civilizations to choose from is Celts, Lithuanians, Italians, Byzantines, Magyars, Bulgarians, Goths. So here's the deal. It very much seems like game number 3, which was random map pack with randoms or with preset civilizations, is now gone. We don't know what the result of this one. Maybe they decided that, you know, they will only play this one if replay that if the score is even. But it looks like now one of the teams have chosen PAG, which is this one, as their home map. And now they can only select from the civilizations that are assigned to this map, which is, as I said, Celts, Lithuanians, Italians, Byzantines, Magyars, Bulgarians, and Goths. So we're going to have some early votes coming in here from Bad Boy, learning from the mistakes of the previous game. Bad Boy will be coming in here in blue Celts flank. We'll have Lithuanians, Pocket for ACCM in green, and Say My Name as Italians, Pocket on the other side in teal. Magyars, Omega Pocket here for Capoch in purple. Italians for Nicov in yellow in the pocket, and Celts for MbL in red. So surprising that we're seeing Magyars over here instead of Lithuanians, because if these wars are up, then Magyars won't do that much. Now, one thing that you have to consider is that this patch is walkable, I believe. So technically these scouts can loop all the way around here and hit the back of this player. So Teal might need to do some walling here. Alternatives that you can think about transport ship strategies here, because it's very easy to just get a transport out, transport 5 scouts in here, and then cause insane havoc. So that's something that you have to consider as well. It very much seems like Bad Boy is not going for any docks just yet. The 2 other players on Vietnam Legends do. Whereas this time MbL is not going for a dock either. Looks like we'll have a scout scuffle. And speaking of scout scuffle, Bad Boy is going to lose his scout over here in this one. I'm actually going to ask the admins about the actual scoreline. So that we are actually aware. Okay, so as things stand, it looks like MbL this time is also going for his dock. It's an interesting dock placement because it's actually so far away from his base, especially with the way that he's voling. But this map definitely has a lot of stalemate potential, because theoretically speaking, this could be water fight heavy, but after that, especially if the players don't take the initiative and go for like transport ship strategies and stuff like that, then there is no way you push through the middle here. So, Feudal Age coming in first for Say My Name here. That's actually a fast Feudal Age. I would assume that he wants to fight on water with Italians here. Keep in mind, as I said, that the back of this player's base is still open thanks to this sort of hybrid terrain here. MbL going for fishing ships himself. Would have been better if that dock is right next to the shorefish, but that's not something that he found back then, I believe. All the relics, by the way, are on the far left on these little islands. And I have to say that this map is beautiful. I like it quite a bit. It is unique, it's gimmicky, but it's unique in a good way. And one thing to consider is that, like, the only thing I would criticize with this map is that this is World Desert Championship, and I'm not 100% sure how this map is actually a desert map. But yeah, this map is actually going to be playing out fun, I would believe. Second dog coming in here for Say My Name, so he's indeed going to be responsible for fighting on water. One thing to consider, though, is that all the fishing ships for Aftermath and his team is on the right side. So you see that Nicov is making just one dock here for a galley to snipe fishing ships. But it looks like Vietnam Legends will concentrate all their efforts to the left-hand side portion of the water, and they will ignore the right side. So aM's fishing eco will be pretty much untouched here. Alright, so we ourselves don't know if actually anyone got a score for the previous game. So for now, what we know is that this is game number 4 that we will be, or we are looking at. And I would assume that because of the drop, they will be replaying game number 3 if the situation requires it. So if it goes into 5 games, they will just replay game number 3 as the last one. So we will have Gallis here coming in for Say My Name, as he's going to take a fight against Nicov. Nicov actually has 3 docks, 1 on the right side for fishing and 2 on the left for water fighting. And I have to say that I'm actually happier, or I feel a lot safer with the fish of aM here. Because that's completely untouched, Vietnam is not contesting it, whereas aM is actually at least attacking the fishing eco of ACCM's team. Now, ACCM is the first player to click up to Castle Age by a massive margin. He was going for a fast castle play here. And remember that the first couple of nights could be devastating on this map. It looks like we had a forward barracks by MbL, and it's very possible that MbL would try something like a pike and siege strategy here on the flank. Because the thing is that on this map you need absolutely no mobility. What you need is brute force power, and Kelt's Pike and Siege is definitely viable for that. MbL buying himself up to Castle Age, but his teammate Nicov will lose his scout, and MbL's forward barracks also gets denied. I like how MbL is using this little pond with the box turtles, get some extra food for himself. But yeah, his Castle Age time is going to be better, and here's the transport ship I was referring to, Capoch, transporting the scouts. This was the grand plan the whole time. That's why he's picking Magyars here intentionally, because Magyar scouts can be a lot more devastating. It's also worth noting that Nicov is going to sail north with his galleys, and he will find a couple of fishing ships. Look at the immediate reaction from ACCM. He pings it to his teammate Say My Name that, look, there is fishing ships, or, well, there is galleys coming our way that are killing our fishing ships, and you will need to come back home. And this is what I was referring to when I said that I think aM's position in fishing is better, because their fishing eco is completely untouched, although it looks like Capoch will lose a will here to the scout of Say My Name. So the fishing eco of aM is completely untouched, whereas that's not the case for Vietnam Legends. Even if they win the fight here, they are not actually killing the fishing eco for aM. The transport ship for Capoch is en route, and that is going to be 5 scouts transported through. Stonewalls are coming in for Bad Boy, but apparently they're not expecting 5 Magyar scouts, and really the +1 attack could help so much. 5 wills lead right now for Nikov's team, but remember that Castle Age is in for ACCM, and honestly, ACCM's Castle Age might save them from this transport ship play. Because by the time those scouts arrive, ACCM will have a couple of knights, and the only way the transport ship scouts play works is if the opponent doesn't actually have any Castle Age units on the field, especially knights, because you have a fast unit that you want to run around with and kill wills with, and if the opponent has an even stronger fast unit, then you won't be able to use your scouts. So this would have been great if each and every opponent is still fuel age, because this way they would have no answer to just scouts running around. Spearmen can help, but you would need a lot of spearmen to deal with 5 Magyar scouts that will just keep running around. Anyways, it looks like the knights will just try to knock down these barracks. Archers will make sure that the spearmen can't engage them. And say my name, this is the moment where trouble starts to begin. That's going to be quite a lot of dead wheels. This is exactly what they were building their strategy upon, and Say My Name is very slow to react. What is Say My Name doing? Remember, Say My Name has to micro his ships. Oh my goodness, this is a disaster for Say My Name. He's not noticing that he's getting absolutely slaughtered because he was microing his ships here. This is looking way better for Aftermath here, and now, as I said, ACCM can send 2 knights to clean this one up, but does that help our teal player who is down to 34 vills? Not necessarily, and keep in mind that because of this, ACCM will also lose fishing eco, as Say My Name falls behind in ship count. Now, one thing to consider though is that the only player in Castle Age is MbL with Celts. He's going for sort of a Monk and Siege, Pike and Siege strategy. But we will have 2 players in Castle Age for Vietnam very soon, and the third one could be coming in soon as well. Knights are now coming in, but I just don't understand why Say My Name is sending his vills back on the wood lines against these Magyar scouts before ACCM would send help. Say My Name lost so many vills here unnecessarily. 12 vills dead, 13, 14 vills dead from Say My Name. That is a disaster. That is an absolute disaster for him. And the thing is that his wood line is still exposed here. I guess this transport strategy was totally worth it for MbL's team. And now, MbL coming in here with Scorpions and Monks. This is the first game that looks way better for MbL's team. And that 14 vills, they won't stop at that. Because it looks like now it's 16. And this is what I was referring to, that Magyar scouts running around, just killing vills is so frustrating to deal with. And all that ACM needs to do is just send in knights, but by the time they realize they got landed, they actually lost way too many vills. And Say My Name is just scrambling to hold on to this one somehow, but he lost water because he was distracted here on land. 17 vills down is Say My Name. And MbL is pushing Bad Boy pretty hard over here. Bad Boy is just now creating his siege workshop overall. And Nicov cleaning up water. This is looking really grim for the Vietnamese team, I'm not gonna lie. Because now the wars are open. Bad Boy also forced back quite a bit, just now grabbing a Mangonel. And really, Capoch was using those scouts to huge efficiency here. That's something that we have to give him. That he's using those so well, make it 18 will kills. That is just some crazy micro from Capoch. I feel like Capoch is, you know, on a bit of a mission after losing that 1v1 to Song Song. He has killed now 20 wills from his opponent. That is enormous damage done. Like, even if they kill 5 wills, I wouldn't have said that this is worth it for Capoch, but 20 wills, man, is something completely different. And remember that this has a longer lasting effect. Namely that Nicov was able to win water because of this. Nicov won water because his opponent on water was just distracted so much. ACCM with 6 knights, but he's up against 4 monks. That's not something that you can actually fight against. So it looks like ACCM is mixing in some light cavalry so he can snipe the monks here. ACCM channeling his inner Hoang here, and he will launch an assault against the Bad Boys town center. These Mangonels even have the hill, so they go down. Like, this TC goes down in a matter of seconds. MbL, on the other hand, he's converting spearmen, which is a disaster because now the light cav can jump on the monks, and they won't be able to convert these knights. 1 conversion comes in for MbL, but that's all, and I think this might be enough for ACCM to clean this one up. ACCM needs to carry this one really badly. Because, as things stand, we are gonna have... nope, no way. No way ACCM carries this. Remember, these are +2/+2 knights, and Lithuanians are only getting their relics if they move to the left side, which is never gonna be possible, because indeed Nicov is controlling all these waters. So the Lithuanian player will never grab a single relic here, and you're up against Magyar knights that get free iron casting, so they're already +2/+2. Eco, slightly better for Nikov's team, but the army numbers are way better, and you see that Nicov is also doing quite a lot of harassment, because one thing we haven't talked about on this map, it just shows the great scale and the diversity of the map, or how many different ways you can play this. the presence of ships here means that you can't really access wood, because guess what? Wood is something that you only have close to the shoreline. And I feel like Capoch's scout transport and the way that he was able to completely annihilate Say My Name might single-handedly win the game here for his team. Obviously, I'm not saying that the others are playing bad, but that transport play and the value that he got out of that 23 kills on Vils is just brutal. And that is what allows MbL to push up here, and more importantly, that allowed Nicov to win water and just distract the players here, taking down lumber camps, taking down TCs here. It looks like we will have a big fight coming in here. Defensive tower is up for Bad Boy. He might want to go for guard tower defense, and it looks like Capoch will have to disengage. Keep in mind that this game, as I said, could quite often end in stalemate. So if Bad Boy's team can stall this one out here, then there's a chance to slowly climb back. Still, the big deal is that Say My Name is 35 Vils. Everybody else has a good Vil count on Bad Boy's team, so 81, 57, but Say My Name is just half dead right now. He's going double monasteries, which is even more surprising here. I would think, by the way, that you need a defensive castle here for Bad Boy. If he gets a defensive castle up here, as MbL gets a nice ground attack in. What is Bad Boy doing with that monk? I don't know, but now that monk is dead. So if there's a defensive castle up here, MbL's push is going to be ineffective. And look at Nicov. Brings in a monk here to start picking up relics. I would have preferred if he actually brings those relics back home, because that way the Lithuanian player would never be able to access relics. Redemption coming in here for Say My Name, so he wants to hold this one with Redemption monks. But I think, as I said, you somehow... Oh my goodness, that's a disaster. Knights coming in here from Capoch, and really, Capoch killing Vils here, 35 to 4, is something that is impacting the game very, very massively. That villager KD for Capoch is basically the source of the villager discrepancy between the two teams, and Capoch is going full knights over here, the aggression working out, because it seems like Vietnam doesn't seem to have the army to fight this one right now, despite the fact that they technically have monks all over the place. And behind this one, Nicov is able to pick up 5 relics, which will be a nice source of gold, and prevent the opponent from having relics with Lithuanians. And these knights are still rampaging the eco of Say My Name. He just can't catch a break. He's down to 43 Vils here, and simultaneously there's a monk getting a conversion on the mangonel, so Say My Name's redemption monks are doing some work here. Lithuanian knights right now only have a +1/+1 as opposed to +2/+2. Although keep in mind that Capoch's eco is not as strong as ACCM's eco. ACCM is 95 Vils. So you still gotta be careful, because 95 Vils, and that's a lot of knights. Capoch has 17 as well, and some of them are still busy destroying Say My Name, but on this battlefield, the numbers seem to be slightly better for ACCM. Still, the good news is that Nicov was completely untouched in his boom with the fish, with the gold income from relics. So, because of that, he can think about going into Imperial. In fact, he already clicked up and he has a huge amount of resources. If he had stone for a castle, this would be great for Genoese crossbows. It's only for standard crossbows now, though. MbL has multiple Scorpions garrisoned inside here, but if this castle goes up, this entire forward is gone. Still, if Nicov gets to Genoese crossbows, there will be no answer from the Vietnamese team. And remember that Nicov is also denying a lot of wood lines over here, so he's really being annoying. Overall, MbL's team has a massive eco lead. Nicov trying to get some more ranges up here a little bit further away. Crossbows pop out, but these guys will just get annihilated here with the castle, with the mangonels around. I feel like the only condition is if these monks can actually start converting these ranges. They have redemption, so they should just start converting things here and maybe snowball the game here really fast with a lot of monks and knights. It looks like Say My Name won't actually go for building conversion. MbL is massing the rams here, which means that these rams could pop out and take down the castle, or at least attempt to do so. All monks trying to convert the pikeman. It's actually very, very good that that pikeman died before that would have happened, because that would have been a disaster. And the one arbalest being converted here for Say My Name, I think he would be better off if he just started converting these ranges. That would do a lot more damage to Nicov. Now, Capoch only has 14 knights in here, and keep in mind that ACCM is clicking into Imperial. And he's got a lot of knights. Obviously, these are just Lithuanian knights and they don't have any relics. But still, they could be scaring Imperial because Capoch is nowhere close to Imp, and that's a lot of monks from the Vietnamese team. These ranges are still up for Nicov, and he's popping out orbs from those. Imperial Age coming in here for our green player. My name is slowly rebooming here, but it's going to take quite a lot of time until he actually gets there. Still, MbL and Nicov have quite a lot of eco here, and many of that could go down really fast. This is just big chaos here in the middle. As I said, this could be a very stalemate game, because this is where all the land fighting is going to occur, in a like 20 tiles wide space, so to say. Knights from Capoch once again back in action with +2/+2. Monks actually getting a couple of conversions here, including Scorpions and some Knights from MbL, so I'm not sure if this is a good fight for MbL. In fact, I am fairly convinced that it isn't. Yet there is Arbalest from Nicov, something that you need to be careful about, because Castle Age Knights will melt to Arbalest very easily. MbL is teching into more and more pikemen, but they will just die to Cavalier pretty easily. I think ACCM needs to pull his forces back a little bit, slow down and wait until Imperial, and then try to win the game with Cavalier. My name is expanding to the right side over here, and if My name gets a bit of a sling and gets to Imperial, he could actually get fast fires and get back on water. Remember that all the relics are in this monastery for Nicov. And I also don't see any castles for Nicov. And without castles, there is no Genoese crossbows. This is going to be very wasteful for MbL here. He's got a couple of pikemen, but the thing is that there is enough knights here for ACCM to destroy these rams, and I think those resources could have been more useful elsewhere for MbL. That's going to be a lot of rams going down. Cavalier on the way, and if there was Genoese crossbows, this would still be very easy for Nikov's team, but there is no Genoese crossbows, and I'm starting to feel like these Cavalier could soon overrun the base of the opponent, because they can just run in here and start annihilating things. There's going to be Galleon coming in for Nicov alongside Bombardkins. I think he might even add Cannon Galleons in an effort to try and just deny as much shoreline as possible. Remember that gold is slowly running out from the middle space, because most of the gold is on the left side, and some of it is being denied by Nicov. My name is back on track on eco, I think. My name needs to redock somewhere. It's going to be tough, but he could try rushing up a castle here, and then redock with fast fires and push off Nicov from water. I feel like Vietnam might be coming back into this one, because if you take a look at the overall ecos, it starts to even out, and what's more important is that you get a fully boomed Lithuanian player in the pocket that's Imperial, although Armadier player is also going up. In this one, supplies for MbL, so he wants to go for champions here, but MbL is losing quite a lot of ground. MbL on the other hand, oh, he's making a landing. D-Day, colorized. MbL's landing with some champions, and it looks like it's not going to be something that will be spotted by Bad Boy immediately. What are they doing? They're focusing so much on the fight in the middle that they are completely forgetting about this one, and this would be a disaster. And MbL queuing up the men-at-arms, the famous and well-renowned Imperial Age men-at-arms, coming in here, as we'll have a defensive castle immediately from ACCM here to clean this one up. Stone walls to contain this from My Name. Bombard cannons are now out for Nicov, as he's trying to take those castles down. One of the bombard cannons might be in the range of the castle. Paladin almost in though for ACCM, and those will be +2/+4 Paladins in a matter of moments. Imperial Age is going for Bad Boy as well, but they're losing one castle here. The Paladins will still be able to jump on those bombard cannons though. MbL is the only player who hasn't clicked up from his team, but keep in mind, My Name has reboomed, and that is going to be a massive difference maker. Another couple of barracks being dropped here by MbL. This time My Name tries to react with towers to prevent this one from happening. Here come the Paladin. Timing is actually pretty nice in this one. Paladin is in, and that's a lot of monks as well from My Name. as the pikemen just evaporate. The monks also need to focus down the bombard cannons. Indeed, they are doing so. Nicov is doing a nice job picking them off from a distance, and all the monks go down here. This might be the decider engagement, because I don't think that ACCM has enough paladins to win this one. With the pikemen, with the knights that have +4, +2, that many bombard cannon, that many arbs, and Vietnam is getting forced back, being distracted very heavily by MbL's landing here. One of the reasons why they can't actually focus that much in the middle is because MbL's landing. And Nicov did a beautiful job picking off the bomb or the monks that were trying to convert the bombard cannons. From this point on, it starts to become more and more snowbally, because those Magyar Cavalier now have +4, +4, and you will soon have paladins in as well for the Magyar player. The castle just keeps getting destroyed, and look at MbL. This is just perfect complementary gameplay here from the members of aM+Capoch in this case. Nicov, whenever he was tasked with something like picking off monks or winning the water after the distractions, he was able to do that. And MbL and Capoch were actually causing so much distraction. Like, very nicely done overall by Nicov, Capoch, and MbL. Capoch being able to get so many will kills with the scouts, MbL's landing to distract the opponent, Nikov's ability to win water and even pick up the relics, then to pick off the monks with the arbalest and then push on with the bombard cannons. Very, very nice complementary gameplay. The teamwork here was really strong for Nicov, Capoch, and MbL, and with that, they're not going down easily. I'm going to add this score to game number 3 for them, and not game number 4, because I can't do that. And I would say, isn't the set map for Pog, game number 4 Pag as well? Basically, game number 3 was random to be Pag, which is this map, but because of internet issues for Song, they sort of stopped playing that. We don't actually know what exactly is up with that game, because the admins couldn't tell me. So basically, I would assume that if this is a 2-2 score after what will basically be the game number 5 settings now, then they will actually replay game number 3 as the final one. That's usually what you do when you have some issues like this one. So let's see. We have the next recorded game in already. Yes, it's going to be game number 5 settings. So we're going to Red Sand. Red Sand is going to be Cumans, Tatars, Turks, Persians, Indians, Huns, Burmese available. So let's see what we have here. Let's jump into game number 5, which is actually currently just the 4th one, so to say. Capture H, please wake up. Okay, thank you. So, oh my goodness, the map is called Red Sand, and what am I even looking at? My eyes are burning. It's a creative map. It reminds me a little bit to one of the Battle of Africa maps, where you have to chop your way through the middle here on the wood line. So let's summarize what we're seeing. First and foremost, it looks like Song is back. So because of this one, I will have to add the score over here. So we're going to have Huns flank for ACCM in teal, Tatars for Bad Boy in blue, so 2 cavalry archer flanks here, and Indians for pocket in green for Song. Indians is a very, very good pocket safe here. In such maps that are relatively easy to wall off on the outskirts, Indians actually is a very good civilization. Nicov is going to be playing Indians pocket as well. Tatars will be the civilization for Capoch on the south in purple, and we'll have Huns for MbL in red as well. Remember that there is no good archer civilization flanks here. Like, there is not a single arbalest civ here, so Tatars, Huns, and Turks are the best possible candidates for flanks, because those are your cavalry archer civs. So this is the outskirts. It seems like it's a fairly standard start, but you see that there is very limited food to work with, barely any sheep whatsoever. Instead, you actually start with your sheep here in the middle in an actual livestock So you got basically some of your sheep and some of your villas in here. Once you consume your sheep, you will probably use these villas to go for the choppity chop here on the wood line, so you can actually open up the middle, because as you may have noticed, the gold is all located in the middle. So this is once again sort of a gimmicky map here. And for now, Song Song is going to open with Lumber Camp back at home. We will also have ACCM with Lumber Camp out. ACCM is going for 4 on wood, so it's going to be a straight archers play, not something like scouts into archers from the flanks, which is something that he could gamble on. And it looks like Capoch actually is trying to steal some sheep, but correct me if I'm wrong, even sheep laming is not allowed in the tournament. I think we had this discussion yesterday, that even sheep laming is not something that's supposed to work. Are the fences in the middle destroyable? Yes, they are. They are actually yours, so you can delete them yourself, and they are also 1 HP buildings. Early walls coming in here from ACCM, and I would assume that the plan is going to be the exact same thing on the right side, by Bad Boy already dropping the houses here. We'll wall it off here, and then would have been better if he was to somewhere around over here, but he will probably just do it like this and this. They will need to secure a corner, that's the most important thing. So that is actually going to be a little bit more troublesome. ACCM's walls will be fine over here, but on the other side, Bad Boy is going to have a harder time walling, and Bad Boy actually is getting attacked diagonally over here. So it looks like Capoch was close to getting a will kill here. Quick walls were up for Bad Boy. So hill being taken here by Capoch, a bit of a scout dancing, and it seems like Capoch actually ends up with slightly better HP. It's double Tatars, by the way, so the hill bonus is even more so amplified than in the case of other civilizations, and Capoch sort of wins this little scout fight over here. And as you would expect, for the archer flanks, it's actually possible that you use your veils in the middle and start mining gold immediately, but you gotta be careful, because there's a bunch of these little creatures here that I can't select because Capture Age apparently is having a bit of a hard time today. But yeah, basically, these Komodo lizards will actually make it much harder to get to these gold mines. It's not the end of the world, but you don't want to lose HP on your vills in the middle, because those will be exposed to aggression anyways. So, woes are up for ACCM on the north. Right side, same enemy is coming in with the woes, but as I said, you kind of have to wall like this, because otherwise you won't have a corner for trade in the future. And you gotta debate if trade is worth it on this map, because there's a huge amount of gold in the middle, but all of that, like if you fall behind, you might still be able to trade here. This might not be a super trade heavy map, although I would technically still love to see if players actually wall their corners, because the thing is that the game could end up being very stalematey, and in that case, trade could actually be something that saves you in case you lose control over the middle. So, we're gonna have Drush coming in here from Capoch, something that the Bad Boy was sort of unprepared for, because his walls are still not up, just now going for barracks himself, and this could potentially get him a couple of will kills. For now, reaction is nice from Bad Boy, and scouts are being pulled back by Song Song. Song Song actually already has a feudal age scout, so he will be able to chase down the one from Nicov. Nicov actually is playing a fast castle build here, something that we haven't talked about just yet. Song Song is playing sort of a scouts play here, because their opponents are playing wide open, so scouts might be legitimate. In comparison, Nicov is playing a fast castle, which on such a map, especially if you're fully walled, and you're not gonna be exposed to any aggression, could be better with Indians. Just go for a free TC full boom. So, walls are up, as I said, for ACCM. He's got a barracks, but that's probably just because he wants to do a range immediately. Looks like he will not fast castle either. In fact, neither of the players from Vietnam Legends will end up doing a fast castle, whereas on the other side, it very much seems like Capoch is going Drush FC, simple fast castle for Nicov, And for MbL, he's the only player who is not doing a fast castle. Instead, he's walling off the left side. And what is he up to? Is he just going to quietly mass archers and boom up behind this one? I would assume so. One villager down from Bad Boy over here. That's actually pretty nice value for the militias here for Capoch. I didn't think that he's gonna be able to pick off a vill, but it looks like he was able to find a weak one, and that is -1 over there for Bad Boy. Not necessarily a great start, but speaking of not necessarily being great starts, Capoch is also going to lose one vill here, who was trying to finish the walls, as Song Song is doing his best to try and keep those walls open for a couple more scouts to arrive, and indeed the scouts are still in here. I don't think that Capoch will be able to get these walls up, or even if he gets it up, I don't think that the HP on these will be satisfactory to hold these off for a long time. And there is a first archer coming in here for Bad Boy that would pretty much prevent the addition, or at least keeping this wall up. And indeed, Capoch won't be able to hold these walls. So the thing is that Drashevsy works nicely if you're actually well defended, but that's not the case for Capoch. And now he's gonna have to scramble to rush up a couple more walls, but say goodbye to your gold mine over here. And the thing is that Capoch, his food eco isn't satisfactory either for a fast castle, so this is gonna be like a very late rush into archers play from him, as the archers will be able to just camp this gold mine forever. Just one archer here would be so devastating by Bad Boy, but instead he's going to send it over to make sure that this polycide wall cannot be repaired. So we will have the archers trying to deny the walls for the time being. We'll be sort of unsuccessful at that, but more importantly, we will have some archers from ACCM here coming in to the base of MbL. Is it 2-1 or 2-2? We don't know, because the admins couldn't tell me what happened to the dropped game that was supposed to be game number 3. I would assume that you don't give that score to aM's team, and you will just replay that game in lieu of game number 5 if this goes into a 2-2 score line. So that's why I haven't added the score there. So we don't know that. Even admins can't tell me. I actually asked specifically, but I received an answer that said they can't tell me, because they don't know either. So for the time being, I love this move from ACCM though. He was the one that actually made archer ranges in the middle. I see. There's so many things happening that it's hard to keep track of, but instead of making archer ranges on the outside, ACCM made it inside, and because these fences only have 1 HP, he's going to get 3 villager kills here on Capoch's wood line. He already got 3 on MbL's wood line, and Nicov was able to chop through in time to prevent those archers from killing his vills. But still, at this point, ACCM actually is 6-0 in terms of villager KD. And Bad Boy lost 2 vills, but Song Song also killed 4. And Bad Boy was actually pretty helpful at just harassing this, denying the walls. Capoch right now is at 30 vills and not going up to Castle Age. I really love the control of ACCM in the middle. And all he needs to do is just preserve that control. Looks like MbL is gonna go for sort of a mangonel push here on the outside. And that could be troublesome for ACCM to defend against, because he is still feudal age, so he won't have a siege workshop himself. MbL is going to launch a Pelican siege push. Camos are out for Nicov, so he should have no trouble dealing with these scouts. We did mention that one of the reasons why Nicov was pushed here, and one of the reasons why there was no response to these scouts, is because Nicov was fast castling. But now that this fast castle is in, he's gonna be able to clean up these scouts with the camos, although that's quite a lot of scouts with bloodlines and +1 defense in comparison to these camos only having +1 defense and not even bloodlines. Here comes the mangonel. These are only feudal age stone walls, which means that they only have 900 HP. It's going to be tough for ACCM to hold against this one, and he's adding a stable. So he wants to go for a couple of knights, but one thing that he doesn't see is the monastery up until now, and the pikemen. So the knights won't save him either here. He's gonna need something more. I think Song Song's camos can actually slow this one down nice and easy. and then Mangonel defense should be reasonable. Keep in mind that this was Nikov's wood line here. This is the reason why Nicov was able to get out, by the way. Every other player actually started chopping wood in these small trees here. The only player that started chopping through was Nicov, and that's how he could actually save his vills in the middle. In exchange though, if he loses these walls, there's a wide open way into his base, and now the scouts jump on MbL's wood line. They will pick off no vills just yet, so I guess crisis contained here by MbL, but there is a couple of archers coming in. If those were crossbows, they would actually annihilate those camos, but they're only archers. Still, MbL is going to lose a couple of vills, and MbL already had a pretty thin eco, I would say. He lost 3 vills in the middle. He's playing a 1TC Mangonel push, so MbL's eco is not going to be amazing here by any means, but who needs eco when you can just go pike and siege? Apparently, what MbL loves to do here, beautiful ground attacks to the Mangonels. And now it looks like we're gonna have crossbows from our teal player here. Camos are on the way to help out against this Mangonel push, but what ACCM really needs here is just his own Mangonel. The thing, however, is that now their base is breached, so all these team walls might be useless if there is a hole that's right on them. Ah, this game is so chaotic. Archers moving in, and these will soon be crossbows. They could hit Capoch here. Capoch has a decent amount of archers, but he's not Castle Age. Or they could hit Nicov as well, who is playing 3 TCs. It seems like Vietnam Legends will control the middle, and now they jump on the Mangonels. What a fight. I'm actually going to rewind this because we missed the early parts of that. But this was an excellent fight for Vietnam. So, here they come. The key thing is that you have to bring in the crossbows. Thanks to the fact that ACCM chops through here, Monk gets picked off by the crossbows, Camos dive in, and they will take down the Mangonels. That's what matters only, because after that the crossbows can finish off everything, and wasn't the worst ever engagement for MbL, but still I think Vietnam gets out better out of this one. All the spearmen going down, all the Mangonels going down, and most importantly, ACCM will be given a shot at rewalling this one. These are Indian camos, which means that they will be able to take down buildings really fast. The Monk actually gets a conversion, but honestly, if that Monk goes down, it's going to be 1 Monk traded to 1 Camo, so it may have not been worth it. And the crossbows, also pushing the back of Capoch's wood line. Capoch lost 8 vills in this game already, which is also worth noting. He's going to have crossbows in a matter of moments, but this is the moment where Bad Boy is going to disengage. On the left side, these siege workshops are going down at a quite rapid pace, and with crossbow support from ACCM, they can keep away Nikov's camos. That's the difference maker, that there is no archer support from MbL, because he was going for sort of this pike and siege style push. Now it looks like MbL's team will try to take this fight here, the Monk juking the arrows, but this is still a way better fight for the Vietnamese team. And on the other side, once again, Bad Boy comes in here with ballistics and thumbering on those crossbows already. Capoch is at 39 vills as opposed to 45 on the other side, and we have 3 TCs for a blue player, and only 1 TC for Capoch in purple. MbL just now adding TC number 3, but I feel like if you combine the fact that the aM or MbL's team doesn't have control over the middle, and the fact that currently the army numbers seem to favor ACCM's team, and these crossbows could be hitting Nikov's eco any moment, this could be very troublesome for MbL's team. Still, they are the ones with the eco lead, although, as I said, the crossbow support here will definitely help quite a bit at just cleaning up Nikov's camos, and more importantly, look at Nikov's eco! Look at Nikov's eco here. That is just so much. He's controlling his army here, but by the time he realizes he's getting massacred, he's actually getting massacred. He still has better villager count than Song Song, but that is slowly fading away, and now another siege workshop goes down from MbL. These are costly buildings to replace, and MbL just doesn't have the archers on the field, and without archers, the camos of Nicov will have basically 0 support in here, so Camo plus Archer is always going to be better than Camo plus Pikeman, and remember that Bad Boy's army is still sort of rampaging Nikov's eco. Other side, Capoch will actually try a counterattack, but there's double layer palisades here, so These will hold for some time for Bad Boy. More importantly, he's got a Town Center over here that's going to help quite a bit contain this damage. He might still need a defensive Siege Workshop, but it's not the end of the world for him. MbL's walls will be broken through on the north. The middle is actually fairly peaceful, although Song Song is trying to bash his way through the middle, and look at this. As I said, if Nicov chops through the middle and they lose the middle here, then there is a wide open route into Nikov's base, and now, more importantly, Song Song fully on camos, 25 camos compared to just 14. They will jump on MbL's Woodland. This is not a fight that you want to take, though, against the Pikemen, because the Scorpions will finish off the crossbows before they can take down the Pikemen. So this was a massive overextension here from the Vietnamese team that they are right now realizing. Still, in exchange, they will be able to just destroy Nikov's eco, who still has the same villager count as Song Song, but they don't have the middle. Capoch tries to break into the base of Bad Boy, and he's successful killing quite a lot of vills here. But still, 64 vills versus 52 is the vill count right now, so Capoch just now adding TC number 3. And if there was ballistics for ACCM, he would have killed a lot more vills. 206 vills versus 197, that's pretty close, as Bad Boy comes in with the crossbows that actually did some damage to the eco of Capoch. They did some damage to the eco of Nicov, and now they're actually pushing MbL. And with Manganol support, it's going to be hard for Capoch to defend against this one, especially if you look at this camo flood from Song Song. Song Song is sort of all in on his camo play here, just flooding camos from every possible direction. 29 to 17 is the camo count, with +1/+2 defense as opposed to +1/+2 as well. And Nikov's idle time is what's going to skyrocket in general. Look at this. Idle time indicator is just way higher for the team of Nicov and MbL. I love this hill control as well for ACCM. Even though they will actually lose this fight here eventually, they take down a huge amount of camos from Nicov, and Nicov won't actually have the tools to replenish them because now he's getting massively pushed in the middle. He's going to start losing vills, and look at the resources in the bank for Song Song. Song Song is having an excellent play here in the pocket. ACCM will try to re-establish a push here on the left side, but Song Song is about to click up to Imperial, and when he gets to Heavy Camel or Imp Camel, that's going to be very devastating. Capoch now slowly winning the fight versus Bad Boy. So he's got 34 crossbows as opposed to only 14. I am not 100% sure what Bad Boy is up to. He might be slinging his teammate into Imperial. Let's see. Nope, he's not slinging. In that case, it's somewhat questionable. Oh, disaster. This is a massive mistake from Bad Boy. This could be a game-losing mistake. He never checked if there was a hole here. And I did mention that his army numbers aren't great. If he had walls, I would say, okay, he can probably hold these walls, a couple of Manganols. But that is brutal. That's -10 vills here for Bad Boy. And as I said, Capoch is now massively beating Bad Boy here. So that is now 71 vills versus 72. Still, I believe that there will be little response to heavy camos or imp camos from the pocket, from MbL's team. But if they want to get back into this game, this is one of the ways that they can do it. A Manganol comes in here to defend, tries to get a shot and actually catches the edge of that group. And it gets another shot out that misses the target. Another Manganol comes in for our blue player. He actually gets a big shot in here, and I think that this actually looked a little bit scarier than it actually was. MbL launching another Pike and Siege push here. That's quite a lot of pikemen with 5 Manganols, but there's defensive castle up for ACCM. So, as you see, one defensive castle will completely prevent these pikemen and Manganols from pushing in, and I just feel like Nicov is suffering from so much damage here. He's the one that gets annihilated, and the thing is that the two flanks are basically playing two separate 1v1s, and while Capoch seemed like he's winning against Bad Boy, I think ACCM is holding off MbL, but the big deal is this. This push on Nicov, because Nicov is definitely set back compared to his opponent. Heavy camo coming in here with battering rams. If this TC goes down, Nikov's eco is going to collapse because he will be losing 15 vills here. And the fully boomed pocket might actually save the day here, despite the fact that these crossbows will find a couple of vill kills. Once these camos have heavy camo, I think they will be able to clean this one up without problems. A bit of a miscoordination here between Bad Boy and Song Song, because
They are struggling to clean this one up. MbL coming in as well for ACCM. He's still getting pushed really hard here, and this new angle might be very concerning to fight against because he doesn't have a defensive castle here, but Nicov is dying. So at this point, I feel like it's all about waiting for Song Song to snowball the game, kill Nicov, and then switch to MbL's base. Because MbL has one big push here with Pikeman, but MbL has zero mobility. So, despite the fact that both Capoch and MbL are imping, the pocket is dead, and I feel like the pocket is more important than having two flanks here. And ACCM is also imping, he's gonna go for mangonel defense. He knows very well that he just needs to delay this one as much as possible, as Bad Boy is dropping castle on the outside. One thing that's surprising is that none of the players actually switched to Cav Archers just yet. Nicov is dead, so now Song Song needs to switch focus to either MbL, which I think would be the better decision. MbL's base is wide open for raiding, and they need to slow this push down. MbL actually loses one mangonel over here, the other mangonel is going to take a shot. Beautiful micro here by ACCM, and it's going to be 1-for-2 after all. That's a huge amount of pikemen from MbL, but ACCM has middle control as well, keep that in mind. He can fall back a little bit, and he will never be pushed off from gold, that's another thing to point out. Imperial Camel 1 minute away for Song Song, and those will just run into MbL's base, and MbL has zero tools to defend his base right now. If you add it to the fact that Capoch is down to 5 crossbows and 13 Cav Archers, that's not gonna be enough, and the Cav Archers now from Capoch will just die to Imp Camels. So that's the problem here, that he needs to switch into Cav Archers because he's getting to Imperial and Tatars don't have Arbalest, but Imp Camels will eat Cav Archers, especially when the Cav Arch numbers are not high. And that's the Imp TC for MbL. This is game over. Imp TC from MbL just now going down. Indian Camels deal extra damage against buildings, and it very much seemed like MbL's Imp TC is dead, and I think this is the moment when they actually spot it. Capoch, MbL, and Nicov are out of the tournament here. Vietnam playing as a team, and I think they actually had a slightly better game plan for this one. This was a super chaotic game, and after all, it doesn't matter what would have happened in the game number 3 that was dropped, because Vietnam, with firm control over the games, winning the best of 3 in the 1v1s 2-0, and then basically all but the PAG game was won by Vietnam Legends, and that Imp TC was the final nail in the coffin. Nilly, look at that. Thank you so much for 10 months of support, welcome back. ROR better than WWP, Vietnam better than aM, GLB better than Tempo, indeed. We're going to see Gamer Legion B, which is Nilly, Doubt and Slam versus Tempo Storm, Leary, Heart and Hera tomorrow, I believe. Let me check the time frame for that. The thing is that there's so many gimmicky maps that it might be closer than many expect. So yeah, it's going to be 18 GMT tomorrow after Suomi versus ROR, but a bit of an upset here in terms of the final result. 3-1 or 3-2, whichever way you want to put it, depending on if you give a score or not to MbL's team for that game that was dropped and never continued. In this game, I feel like ACCM played extremely well. I really loved how he opened with 2 ranges in the middle. He got 3 will kills on MbL, he got 3 will kills on Capoch for absolutely no or like very little investment. He invested into ranges and made 3 archers, but that's it. After that, he chopped through and he could use these anyways. Then the defense was pretty nice as well, and Song Song's boom was actually very good. The way that he could keep up the pressure, plus the ability to just destroy the opponent's food eco consistently, and also have a good boom behind that one and hit Imperial first. Other side, I think Capoch eventually beat Bad Boy in this sort of 1v1, although Bad Boy actually was able to delay Capoch quite a bit, and that was what mattered. Basically, the 2 flanks played the delay game very nicely for Vietnam, and then the pocket just snowballs it with Imp Camels, and with that, Vietnam moves on to the next round of the event, and they will be up against the winner of GLA versus Heresy, which I'm not going to say out loud because, you know, spoilers, and I want these spoiler-free, but Vietnam looking strong in this one. They get into the semifinals next weekend.